What's going on, everybody? Happy Saturday. Hopefully everyone's having a good weekend so far. Maybe you're enjoying some college football. Maybe you're enjoying some baseball playoffs. Maybe you're just enjoying the weather, depending on where you are. Hopefully it's a good weekend. We've got week 5 start sit help. Sort out any questions that you may have ahead of the full Sunday slate. Again, there is, I'm sure everybody knows at this point, but there is a London game tomorrow. The first of several international games that take place on Sunday start tomorrow between the Vikings and the Jets in London. So probably no Sunday start-sit stream tomorrow morning. If you need any final thoughts leading up to the full slate, I will be available in Discord tomorrow morning. Second link in the description of this stream and all the videos and streams on this channel. If you would like to run anything by me, we will be available over there for any help, but we'll likely forego the live stream tomorrow because we'll all be watching the game in all likelihood. If you want to wake up early for it enough, it's not too bad for the East Coasters at 9:30, but for the West Coasters 6:30 in the morning, that's a hell of a commitment. So, which is what I'll be doing. But I'm gonna be awake because it's a football game. So yeah. Today is the probably only stream of the weekend for Start Sit Help. If you need me, I will be in Discord tomorrow leading up to kickoff. Derek, Jake, Rojo, good to see everybody. What's going on? Happy Saturday. And I will take questions. Let me get through the latest injury reports that we have. Now that we have the complete list, so we can go over that. So that might influence some of your questions, whether it does or not. Hopefully it helps, but it's good to just confirm definitive injuries in case you may have missed anything or overlooked anything, which is okay. There's a lot to always remember to do and keep tabs on. That's why I'm here, to hopefully help this out. And then we'll take questions. As always, members will get first priority to their questions getting answered and their any comments responded to. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. If you would like priority access to questions, details about memberships are available in the first link in the description of this stream. And again, all of the videos and streams on this channel, if you happen to find yourself down a rabbit hole on the channel. You just have to join at the lowest level of membership to be eligible for priority responses if you are not already signed up. If you are feeling so inclined or feeling generous this Saturday, if you send a super, that would also be a line jumper. It's not necessary, but it is very much appreciated. And, you'll get your questions answered as well in priority order along with the members. I then get to everybody else. So you are free to, you are free to join with the chat without being a member or sending a super and ask questions. But I do just ask for some patience from you as I work through members and supers that are sent. What's going on, Nemo? Good to see you. You will also be shout out as a member and or just a long time listener. So you'll know I'm referring to you guys specifically. If nothing else, if you guys are enjoying the dialogue, the engagement, the conversation in general, I only ask that you like the stream. That helps me for algorithm purposes. Appreciate that in advance. What's up, Crumply Heads? I have your questions in the Discord. I saw your lineups. I will get to those. We'll take care of that on this stream. But I got to ask you guys my most important question of the day. And we're off. Okay, let's take a look at injuries as it pertains to week 5. Some obvious guys ruled out. TJ Hawkinson, not yet ready to return. Nick Chubb, not yet ready to return. You were not firing either of those guys up this week anyway, but they are on track to return in the coming weeks. If you were willing to take a chance on those or roll the dice on those guys, I personally was fading both. Even though obviously their injury concerns were baked into their low cost this year. Still, some nasty injuries to come back from for the two of them, specifically Chubb, so they remain a wait and see. Jonathan Taylor ruled out. Head coach Shane Steichen has said that the backfield will be a running back by committee this week, so some combination of Trey Sermon, Tyler Goodson. They activated a couple of players from the practice squad. We'll see how much truth there is to that, if Sermon gets lead back duties, or if Goodson gets a little bit more mixed in this matchup against Jacksonville that gives up decent but not spectacular production to opposing running backs this year, and actually just straight up rushing yards allowed. They are in the top 10. So if there's one thing Jacksonville does well this year, I guess it's playing the run. Not necessarily the best strength you want in 2024, but that's the situation with the Jacksonville Jaguars. David Njoku, I believe, is questionable. I would prefer not to play him in his first game back since he's not off the injury report, but you may not have a better option to you because, as always, the tight end landscape is a barren wasteland. Jaylen Warren will not play week 5. Again, big spot, advantageous spot for Najee Harris against the run funnel Dallas Cowboys. You are firing up Najee, and even in one quarterback leagues, unless you have like a Lamar Jackson or a Jaden Daniels or a Josh Allen, you're firing up Justin Fields. Yes, I would say, and over any other names that I mentioned. It's like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels. Those are the 3 names I'm starting over Justin Fields this week, even in one quarterback leagues. If it's not one of those guys, then I am not interested in starting Justin Fields over whoever else that might be. If you have Fields and not one of those other guys, fire up Fields. Great spot, again, against the Dallas Cowboys, giving up a ton of rushing production in general. Could be skewed a little bit by running backs, but obviously, Justin Fields is one of the upper echelon rushing quarterbacks in the NFL and provided week-winning upside last week with his legs. So fire up Najee in a must-start situation. Fire up Justin Fields as well. What's up, Dynasty Football Key? Good to see you. Raheem Mostert expects to play this week. I think Odell Beckham as well is making his Dolphins debut. You are not firing up either one of those guys. We barely want to fire up the regular starters for the Miami Dolphins right now until Tua comes back. We continue to get positive news about Tua's return. We're eyeing week 8. Hopefully you were following along. My suggestion to anybody at the onset of this, when his availability was in limbo for the rest of the season, I was encouraging folks to hold on Tyreek and Waddle unless it was not a buy low that made a lot of sense. And for a lot of people, they were getting, low-end offers, pennies on the dollar. If you held, great. If you bought low, even better. Their stock will rise. We're going to have to continue to wait and be patient. But it looks like Tua is on track to return eventually. But for right now, Miami Dolphins players are difficult to trust. Guys like Raheem Mostert and Odell Beckham are completely off the fantasy radar. Tank Dell is good to go for the Houston Texans. You can fire him up, I guess, as a low-end wide receiver too. The secondary advanced statistics are in Tank Dell's favor, but it hasn't translated onto the field, so you can only care about analytics so much. We need actual production. Air yards don't score fantasy points unless you're in a league with a bunch of data nerds, which is unlikely. So low-end wide receiver 2, maybe a high-end wide receiver 3 with a little bit of boom-bust potential is Tank Dell. But he is making his return. So that's good. Zamir White is out this week. You weren't playing him anyway. You weren't playing him in 4-man leagues. That's how bad Zamir White is. So Alexander Mattison is in a great spot start from an opportunity perspective. Bad matchup, however, against the Denver Broncos. Madison is a desperation play. Joe Mixon is listed out. So speaking of desperation plays, Cam Akers, Daria Gumbawale, avoid at all costs. It's a great matchup, but this is a gross situation. It's like, what are you hoping for from Cam Akers? 6 or 7 points? Ugh. Yeah, and Dameon Pierce is questionable. Missed the first 2 days of practice this week before returning on Friday. I can't imagine that Dameon Pierce has much of an impact in this game, even if he is able to go, because he's missed so much time. He was only able to practice once this week. He may be emergency depth and nothing more. I would prefer not to trust anybody in the Houston Texans backfield. In addition to Jalen Warren, Cordell Patterson is also out for the Steelers. So again, fire up Najee Harris, fire up Justin Fields. And Odell Beckham is officially questionable. So from what I can tell here. I just saw the update that Jalen Warren is dealing with a grade 1 PCL sprain. So we could be missing a couple of weeks for Jalen Warren, but I think a grade 1 would suggest that he could possibly return. He could possibly return late in the not too distant future. But it's shaping up so far, at least in the early goings, to not be. It's not. 2024 is not Jalen Warren's year so far. We'll see if that turns around in the coming weeks. Anthony Richardson is doubtful, so it's going to be, in all likelihood, it's going to be Joe Flacco. By every indication, he was taking the first team snaps for most of the practices this week for Indianapolis. So you feel good about the Colts pass catchers. You feel fine about, you can fire up Michael Pittman with a little bit more confidence. You can fire up Josh Downs with a lot of confidence, I would say. AD Mitchell, Alec Pierce are desperation dart throws. However, they have a chance to come through in deeper leagues with Flacco at the helm instead of Richardson. Devontae Adams is obviously out. He has a hamstring injury that it will probably miraculously start to feel better if he gets traded. But for now, he is still a Raider. Therefore, he will not play. Trey Tucker is interesting. Jacoby Myers probably draws Patrick Surtain. This is a bad matchup all the way around for the Las Vegas Raiders. Hopefully you have alternate options for anybody other than Brock Bowers. You have to play Brock Bowers in all likelihood. That's the only guy I want to fire in this matchup. Ramondre Stevenson will not start week 5, but will play. This shit is a can of worms that is difficult to predict or project. If you have Ramondre Stevenson or if you picked up Antonio Gibson, Gibson could be fine, but a start is so relative on a team-by-team basis. A player that draws a start doesn't necessarily make them the guy that you want to have in this backfield. It could be a gross committee. Ramondre could continue to see the majority of the snaps. The fact that he's not starting could just be like a mild demotion, but they just signed him to a big contract. They have to continue to roll with Ramondre Stevenson in some way, shape, or form, in some capacity. So I don't like this situation in general. Hopefully you can avoid it. If you have to absolutely roll with one of these guys, I still think I would lean Ramondre, but they're both like at best on the RB3 radar until we see a little bit more. Ramondre's put the ball on the turf 4 straight weeks to open the year. Not what we want, not what we want to see. But also, this is a pretty good matchup. I do think he could still come through, even if this is more like a demotion, but not like you're fired type of thing. Like, he's still gonna get involved. Less than ideal, though. Hopefully you can avoid the Patriots backfield, even though it is a good matchup. Brandon Cooks was placed on injured reserve, so Jalen Tolbert gets a slight uptick in opportunities, but difficult to trust in 10 team leagues, probably even 12 team leagues. Trey McBride was downgraded to questionable week 5. This is different. He had a concussion week 4, and it's what forced him to miss the game. Now he's dealing with a rib injury that has downgraded his status to questionable. Keep an eye on that. Obviously, we have to potentially make other plans. The Cardinals, I believe, play in the later window, so that makes their situation tricky if you have Trey McBride. It's a guy that you have to rock with if healthy. It's a guy that you probably need to wait on, but have a backup plan if we get any updates about Trey McBride going into the 1 p.m. window, the 1 p.m. East window. Then you can at least have more options available to you. But if we don't get any news about McBride's status until after the 1 p.m. kickoffs, we're going to be a little hamstrung. Our hands are going to be tied with Trey McBride until we get a definitive status, because you have to play him if he plays. But if he doesn't, options are going to be limited. So if you have McBride, maybe, keep an eye on the other options in the tight end spot that are playing in the later window. Should probably pull that up and see what that looks like. I just want to see who your options could be. I don't want a video. I just want, there we go. Broncos, Raiders. I mean, Brock Bowers is already rostered. I don't want to play anybody else there. I mean, if the Rams are in the one, like, is Colby Parkinson available if you have Trey McBride? I don't want to play Noah Fant for Seattle. Tucker Kraft may already be rostered. I would check and see if you have Trey McBride, or honestly, if you have George Kittle, you may already have been making alternative plans with Kittle. What's the latest on him, actually? Questionable? Or was he removed from the injury report? No, he's questionable. Yeah, that's a tough spot. If you have Trey McBride or if you have George Kittle, like, check and see if Tucker Kraft is still available. Check and see if Colby Parkinson is available. Check and see if Pat Freiermuth, he's probably not available, but check and see. Jawan Johnson for the Saints, Monday Night Football. Taysom Hill, I believe, was downgraded to out for Monday Night Football. I'm just checking. I'm checking. He is. Taysom Hill is ruled out. So try, if you have Trey McBride, if you have George Kittle, Colby Parkinson, Tucker Kraft, Pat Freiermuth, Jawan Johnson, who plays on Monday night, that would be a decent fallback, as a desperation if one of those guys, McBride or Kittle, are unable to go. So have your contingency plans ready. And if none of those guys are available, let me know who is, and we can sort that out. Evan Ingram not expected to play week 5. Evan Ingram is apparently, made of tissue paper, suffered a hamstring injury in warm-ups week 2, and we haven't seen or heard from him since. Frustrating because you probably can't drop him because that's how bad the tight end situation is. The tight end situation is so bad that we're hanging on to a dude who hasn't played and has 1 catch on the season, but there's some type of upside, I guess, with Evan Ingram. It's a shitty situation if you have him. You probably can't drop him. Just wait for him to get ruled out, put him back on IR, pick somebody else up, hope for the best. I guess Brenton Strange is on the streaming radar because of Evan Ingram's likely absence tomorrow. The Colts are getting cooked by opposing tight ends, so you could do worse than a dart throw in Strange. You could try him out. It's a good matchup at least. Romeo Doubs suspended 1 game for conduct detrimental to the team. What I've seen on Reddit threads, this is not confirmed, but I've seen it on social media, is that Doubs is not happy with his role, presumably. I don't know what to tell you if that's true. Jaden Reed is a better player. Christian Watson, when healthy, he's not now, but when healthy, is a better player. He's not healthy now, so your role was going to stay right where it was. No issues there. And Dontavian Wicks looks like, everyone's pegged him as the breakout guy this week. And, for good reason. It's a great matchup. He looks good. He commanded 13 targets last week. Yes, it was with the Packers playing catch up, but, he was one of Jordan Love's preferred go-to guys, clearly. with Watson going down. So it's just going to be Jaden Reed and Dontavian Wicks this week for the Packers at wide receiver, outside of some ancillary options. With Dobbs out of the picture, both of those guys, I mean, you are already firing up Jaden Reed with confidence. I think at this point, we're firing up Dontavian Wicks with a lot of confidence as well. The matchup is great. He looks good. If you picked up Wicks, unless you've got stud after stud after stud at wide receiver, you probably need to find a way to get Wicks into your starting lineup. And now the vibes is like, what's going on with what is going on with Dobbs? Is this gonna blow over and be like a short-term thing, and he'll be back and doing his thing for the Packers offense rest of the season and nothing to worry about? Or is there a larger issue here? So like Wick's stock is even higher now. It was higher than it already was. So if you grabbed Dontavian Wicks off of waivers, get him in there. Unless you're starting CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase, get him in there. Get him in your lineup. Or Justin Jefferson. If you're starting a bona fide stud, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, CeeDee, Chase, and then another, high-end performer, a Debo, I mean, I guess Jaden Reed. I mean, you're playing Nico Collins. Unless it's like two studs or three studs. I mean, get Dontavian Wicks into your lineup. And Brian Robinson will play. This was a bit of a surprise, but Brian Robinson might just be built different. Take notes, Evan Ingram. Didn't practice for the first 2 days this week. Returned to practice on Friday. Will play tomorrow. It's huge. It's a bad matchup. But if you went like the zero RB route and grabbed Brian Robinson, I mean, if he's out there and off the injury report, I don't know if he's off I guess if it says will play, then I guess he's off the injury report, right? He's still listed as questionable. But the latest that I got, he's technically listed as questionable. The news just came down. Like it was reported by Jeremy Fowler about 10 minutes ago. Brian Robinson will play week 5. I mean, he's in your lineup. He's in your lineup. Has to be. Clyde Edwards-Helaire doubtful to play week 5 with an illness. This guy's always sick. I know he has dealt with some mental health things, and I don't mean it from that perspective, but like, does this guy always have the flu? He's always on the injury report with an illness. Is he like get some food poisoning or something? What's going on with Clyde? Either way, it looks like, Kareem Hunt is now the favorite to take over this backfield. Maybe Carson Steele mixes in. Samaje Perine could mix in, but Kareem Hunt looks to be the favorite. So if you grabbed him, he's a flexible option on Monday Night Football against the Saints at home. I think I got everything. I think that takes care of the latest injury news. And if I see anything else come down on the wire, I will make sure to give you guys that heads up. But we are up to date for now. Again, as just a reminder, first of all, welcome. Appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out today. Hopefully you're having a good weekend, however you're choosing to spend it. I will be getting my members first. That is a perk of being a member of the channel. I will go out of my order to address the member questions, priority answers to your questions, priority responses to your comments. You can find details about becoming a member in the first link in the description of this live stream if you are interested and would like the priority access to questions. And then again, I will take a super if you're feeling so inclined. If you're feeling generous enough to offer one, you don't have to, but if you do, that will also be a line jumper. And then I will get to everybody else. So I appreciate y'all's patience. If you don't want to become a member or send a super, that's perfectly fine. But I do ask for some patience as I work through the other questions. But I will get to everybody. Thanks in advance. If you are enjoying the dialogue, the conversation, the engagement, I only ask that you like the stream. Appreciate it. All right. And again, not again, as a reminder, context is key. Context helps as much as you can provide me. What is the scoring? What is your league scoring? Is it full PPR? Is it half PPR? Is it standard? Are there any bonuses? Any random bonuses that may influence your decision? Is it a super flex league? Do you start 2 receivers or 3 receivers? Give me as much context as you possibly can. That will get you the most help that I can potentially provide in the form of advice for your questions. Let's get into it. Rojo's got, and happy Saturday to everybody. A special shout out to my members again: Derek, Jake, Rojo, Nemo, Crumply Heads, Dynasty Football Key. I think I saw Greg in here, and David. Good to see all of you. Appreciate y'all's support. Juwan Jennings, Lazard, or Jacoby Myers if I have to go with one. Well, Allen Lazard is currently outscoring Garrett Wilson, just like we all drew it up heading into the season. Viable flex play, as is Juwan Jennings. With Debo's return, he's a little less enticing, and Kittle could return. But if Kittle is out, then Jennings goes back into the flex conversation. Myers obviously is looking at, he has the clearest path to wide receiver 1 usage, but he's going to get shadow coverage in all likelihood from Patrick Surtain. So I ultimately think I am avoiding Jacoby Myers simply because of the matchup. I think I would go Rojo. I'm tempted to just go Lazard here, only because I don't know if George Kittle is going to play. If George Kittle suits up and the 49ers have George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk at their disposal, Juwan Jennings goes back to being likely 4th in the pecking order. He could be 3rd, but with all 3 of those guys active, he's unlikely to be 1st or 2nd. I think that's fair to say. So Lazard, on the other hand, I have no questions about his role, and he's been the Jets wide receiver 1. He's been the Jets wide receiver 1 on a per game basis over Garrett Wilson, who is giving you nothing relative to expectations. He was drafted as a late 1st, early 2nd round pick this year, and we are not getting that from him. We are getting better play from Lazard. The Vikings are difficult to run on, but you can throw on them. So I would go Lazard since Lazard plays 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast. Jennings doesn't play until the 4:25 window. We are not likely to know Kittle's status by then, by the time the London game kicks off. Therefore, I will roll the dice with Lazard, who I know is not just a starter for the Jets, but he's their wide receiver 1 right now. If the Jets trade for Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson's their wide receiver 3. If the first 4 weeks are any indication. Lazard, Rojo. And I see that there's some folks out. Derek, good looks. I always encourage, if you feel so inclined to offer your 2 cents to questions, feel free to jump in. I appreciate the dialogue. We want to help each other out here. That's the whole idea. I can't imagine. I mean, maybe some of you are playing in a league with each other, and that's ironically funny if that's the case. But in all likelihood, we're not all playing in the same league, so feel free to help each other out. Let's see, where are we at? Derek, you are starting Gibson. I mean, the opportunity appears to be there. It sounds like he's going to draw the start. He's made some plays for them. I've been a Gibson guy in the past. I've admittedly fallen off how high I was on him previously, just because the situation changed. Maybe he's not that good of a runner. He's a playmaker, but he's not a pure runner. But the Patriots are running out of options right now with how Ramondre keeps putting the ball on the turf. So the opportunity's there. The matchup is really good. See what happens. I might have to start him in I may have to start him in one of my dynasty leagues, actually. I may fire up Antonio Gibson in one of my dynasty leagues with like larger rosters. I got a bunch of guys on bye this week, so I may have to relook at that. Yes, Greg, what's going on, man? Sorry about Bijan. Bijan is like, It's not his fault. Bijan is an excellent player, but he has a Tyler Algier problem. Like, the fantasy footballers, if you guys follow them or listen to them, they were going into it after the Thursday night game yesterday. I mean, how many running backs would you rather have over Bijan Robinson right now? 10, 11? Like, it's insane. And none of them are, or maybe one or two of them are as, if not more talented than Bijan. It's just, he's not getting the big time usage that you expect. And he's not scoring. He's not scoring. Yeah, but you have to keep going back to the well with him. You have no choice. He's healthy. He's out there giving you efficient production. But we drafted Bijan to be, with the thought in mind that he had a RB1 overall upside. That doesn't look like the case right now. But you have to keep rolling with him. I do believe you go with Pittman with Joe Flacco in there. I just feel more confident. Until Anthony Richardson continues to get a little bit more experience. Remember, the number of games that Richardson has started dating back to college is still a very low number. So, that's the glass half full way of looking at Anthony Richardson, is there is still a lot of room to grow, but right now he's difficult to trust as far as maintaining high-end production for his pass catchers. Flacco does that a little bit more confidently. You're firing up Pittman in the flex over guys like Chase Brown and Jawan Jennings. Yes. Hell, I mean, start Josh Downs tomorrow. If you grabbed if you grab Dontavian Wicks, get him into your lineup. If you grab Josh Downs, get him into your lineup. Joe Flacco likes throwing him the ball, and he said as much in his post-game press conference last week. He likes, in different words, he likes Josh Downs. I think he likes throwing the ball to Josh Downs. Get him into your lineup. And yes, to Pittman over Rico Dowdle as well. I like Rico as a sneaky play this week because it's a bad matchup, so everybody's shying away from him. But I think he'll be okay. This is his backfield now. That being said, Pittman over somebody like Rico Dowdle. All right. Derek helping out. Love to see it. And Greg Akers, Tracy, and Downs. Oh, you do have Josh Downs. I can't play. I like Josh Downs, but I can't play him over Pittman. We have to still operate for one more week, or at least a couple more weeks, that Pittman is the team's wide receiver one. You have to go Pittman over Downs, but I do like both. Downs should not be on waivers. I get the appeal with Tyrone Tracy. Devin Singletary is looking unlikely to play. I don't think I covered that in my injury rundown, so apologies. I believe the last I saw is Devin Singletary is doubtful. By the way, fire up the Seahawks defense. They're probably already rostered. If you have them, pat yourself on the back and fire them up. The Giants will not only be without Devin Singletary in all likelihood, but they are definitely without Malik Neighbors. That is an offense on the road that I do not trust. Fire up the Seattle Seahawks. And if by some chance they are still out there, go grab them. Unless you have the Denver Broncos. Go grab the Seattle Seahawks. They're in an excellent spot. I would probably put the Seahawks as I would put the Broncos 1. Actually, I might put Seattle 1 because I believe the Broncos are on the road. So that's the one concern. Teams just play better at home, but still, the Broncos have a really good defense, and the Raiders have an offense loaded with question marks. But I think they're on the road, right? Somebody feel free to fact check me there. I could just go look at one of my leagues where I know I'm starting Javonte Williams, and I can stare at the... No, it's a home game for Denver. Okay, Denver's number 1. Denver's number 1 against the Raiders, but I would put Seattle number 2 at home hosting the Giants. Those are the defenses to fire up this week, for sure. I got down a diatribe because Tyrone Tracy was brought up, and I talked about how Devin Singletary is out this week. Fire up the Seahawks defense. Gibson or Justice Hill? Hill's usage is great to see, but volatile. Gibson, on the other hand, they're both in the same boat, but Gibson is tracking to start, whereas obviously Hill continues to work behind Derrick Henry, who is, the god of running backs at this point. Still doing it. Still doing it. Is Derrick Henry 29 or 30 years old? Absolutely cooking. He's 30. Absolutely cooking with the Baltimore Ravens. He has racked up like 8 million carries in his career and is still doing it. Derrick Henry's the freaking man. And I feel guilty that for many years, over the past couple of years, I faded him a little bit because of my concerns with his age and like, oh, his workload from last year was big. Oh, his workload from last year was big as well. But this is the year where he probably falls off. And then he did it again. Fucking hats off to Derrick Henry, man. Justice Hill works behind Derrick Henry. Antonio Gibson looks like he's going to be running ahead of Ramondre Stevenson this week. So I guess I would give the slight nod to Gibson. But Baltimore is on the road. So you would expect them to kind of stay a little bit more aggressive against a Cincinnati offense that we expect to score points. Whereas Gibson is at home in a not good matchup. Or Gibson is at home in a good matchup, but in a difficult situation to predict. I give the slight nod to Gibson because I think he's going to because like the indication, Derek, for Gibson versus Hill, the indication is that Gibson is going to start. So I have no choice but to expect that he could get more usage than Justice Hill, even though Hill is clearly a big part of what the Ravens want to do on offense. I would give the slight nod, Derek, to Gibson. In PPR, they're both viable. Gibson can catch the ball. Justice Hill can catch the ball as well. I give the slight nod to Gibson because by every indication, he's going to be the guy that starts the game. For the New England Patriots. And they're at home. So you feel a little bit better about a guy. When you're between ancillary options, you feel a little bit better about the guy at home. And it's a good matchup. Well, that's a good matchup for both of them, but I think it's an even better matchup for Gibson. Greg, so what's who do we roll with here? Pittman. Pittman of all of these names, Greg. I want you to pick up Josh Downs. If there's a way to. If the last guys on your roster are Jawan Jennings and Rico Dowdle and Xavier Legette, then maybe there's not enough room, but I wouldn't mind having Josh Downs. I do not think he should be on waivers. But you have to start Pittman from that group. You simply have to. Simply have to. Let's see. I'm just working through my member questions. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through them. The members, that is a perk of being a member of the channel. You will get your questions responded to in priority order. I realized I still have Rojo's question pinned. Let me continue to pin other member questions, and then I will get to everybody else. Appreciate y'all's patience. But thanks for coming in. Kincaid or McBride this week? Kincaid. If you have both, then Kincaid, because McBride was down simply because McBride was downgraded on the injury report, and now we don't know if he's going to play. He missed last week with a concussion. Now he's on the injury report with a rib injury. He was downgraded, which is not a good sign, not what we want to see. That's the opposite direction we want to see a player go. Just play Kincaid. Because as of right now, Kincaid doesn't have any injury designations or concerns. From what as long as I'm completely up to date, which I think I am. I haven't seen any issues about Kincaid's availability this week. And there isn't any. Kincaid over McBride because McBride might now not play or could be limited. Kincaid. All right, Jake, you have a situation on your hands. You're a big underdog. You had to go against London and Pitts. Yeah, they both did quite well. Are we starting? You're starting Wicks and Wandale. Smart. And then in full PPR, we're between Achane, Downs, and Shaheed. Achane is on the road against New England, so I am not a fan of that. given his situation, obviously, without Tua. I like Josh Downs. I've been mentioning that I do like Josh Downs. I think with Flacco in there, he's a rock solid play, especially in PPR leagues. And Shaheed against the Chiefs on Monday night. If you are a big underdog, Downs will get you some volume. Shaheed is the boom bust play. He's all or nothing. So I'm inclined to say, if you feel like you really need to be aggressive, Jake, if like in full PPR, like Josh Downs, let me just, for some context so that I'm not just like making up some numbers, I need to get Downs' specific numbers from last week. They were good. 8 for 82 and a touchdown. Yeah, so if he does 75% of that, if he gets 6 catches for 75 yards, maybe he doesn't score because it's on the road, a little bit tougher of a spot, and touchdowns are random. That's 13 and a half PPR points. That's a solid floor. Shaheed will either give you a long bomb for a score to give you that big play. Like he had career highs last week, targets, catches. Shaheed is not typically a volume guy. He did that last week. 8 catches on 11 targets for 83 yards. Shaheed came through with volume in a big way last week. But that's not traditionally his game. I would still say he's the big time play. He's the all or nothing shot. Downs is the floor play. Probably has a safer floor with Flacco in there. Shaheed is a little bit more all or nothing. If you need to be aggressive, I guess I'm inclined to say Shaheed. But Josh Downs is a perfectly fine safe play. I know you're a big underdog. So then in that case, I guess I would suggest Shaheed and swing for the fences. But Downs has the higher floor. So if you've already got like some dart throws, some moonshots in your lineup, Wicks and Wandale should come through with some volume. Maybe take the shot on Shaheed because Wicks and Wandale should be safe volume plays. And then half PPR, you're a slight favorite between Downs or Higgins. If you're a slight favorite, Higgins had some decent but kind of pedestrian numbers last week. He's still the better player than Josh Downs. 10 targets, 6 catches, 60 yards. This is a slightly tougher matchup in a division game against Baltimore, but they are at home. I think you go Higgins. The usage is really good. I think you go Higgins as a slight favorite, Jake. He's the better player. I like Josh Downs. I like Josh Downs a lot, but Higgins is the more proven, better player, catching passes from the better quarterback. I think you go with T. Like 10 targets last week. He's now got a couple of games under his belt after missing some time to start the season. He missed time in the offseason as well. Injuries, the contract situation, all that good stuff. Go Higgins. He's now in his 3rd game, got some games under his belt. Cincinnati's offense could finally start to be clicking a little bit. The Ravens are a tough matchup, and division games are always weird and more of a slugfest than your average game. But the Ravens can be had through the air. They have a great run defense. They have a lethal run defense. Like, good luck, Zach Moss and Chase Brown tomorrow. They're both like lower RB3s. They're viable, but not in the way that they usually are. But you can get Baltimore through the air. And the Bengals likely will have to do that whether they want to or not. And yep, Greg, Pittman over Downs, Pittman over Akers. If you have Denver, then yes, I like Pitt. The Steelers should be fine, but Denver against the Raiders, that's a juicy spot for the Broncos defense. Down Devontae Adams, down Zamir White. Not that means a whole lot, but they're banged up. They're missing pieces that they had as key starters coming into the season. I would fire the Broncos over the Steelers. Um, let's see. Hey, Nino, that's the 10th super that you have shared with this channel. That's a nice little milestone. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Very kind of you. Very much appreciated. This is a trade question. Send Brian Thomas and Bijan for Saquon. It scares me a little bit to add such a nice piece to this trade. Like Brian in the grand scheme of the conversation of the trade, Brian Thomas is like is the added piece here, the fill-in piece, the ancillary piece, even though he's better than that. It gives me a little bit of pause doing this 2-for-1. However, I understand the thought process. Saquon looks like a top 3 running back rest of season, whereas Bijan looks like maybe more of a top 10 running back rest of season. Not because of the talent, but because of the usage. However, we want to be cautious about this isn't a sell low for Bijan by any stretch of the imagination, because you would be getting one of probably the top 3 running backs on the year, at least as far as we can chart out rest of season. We never know what's going to happen, but you have to try to sometimes also keep the long view in focus. Nevertheless, Bijan has a Tyler Algier problem in a way that Saquon doesn't have, with all due respect to guys like Kenny Gainwell and Will Shipley. Like Saquon is making Jalen Hurts almost obsolete from a fantasy perspective on the ground. That's how, Saquon has taken over the backfield production for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you would be getting past his bye week now because the Eagles are on bye. So you get that out of the way early, and then you can just plug Saquon into your RB1 spot rest of the year. I forget when the Falcons bye week is, but I don't think it's for some time. It's not until week 12. That could be a crucial spot, like a big time, battling, fighting, scratching and clawing for a playoff spot. That'll be a tough spot to not have Bijan. Man. And I like Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's talented. I think he was a great pick in the draft at cost. I think he's a great return on investment. So it's a tough 2-on-1 to just like definitively say yes, smash, accept. But right now, 1-for-1. If this was a 1-for-1 swap, you'd rather have Saquon, and there's no question. You'd rather have Saquon, and it's not even a shadow of a doubt. If you're solid, Nino, at wide receiver, if you've got good options at wide receiver, and you have Kupp, Godwin, Diggs, Devontae Smith, yeah, I say do it. I say sure, fine. Because Saquon, who would you rather have than Saquon right now at running back? Alvin Kamara? Maybe Kyron Williams? Like a Kenneth Walker? Derrick Henry? Those are the only guys in the conversation. Bijan is behind all those dudes right now. Aaron Jones still looks great. Like Saquon, yeah, okay. I say yes, Nino. If you have the decent wide receivers, Kupp is on his way back. Devontae Smith has missed a couple weeks, but should be fine to return week 6. So you're getting healthy at the right time to make this trade. Yeah, I say yes, because right now Saquon is one of 2, 3, 4 running backs that is in the overall RB1 conversation, and Bijan is not one of them. Is not another one of those names. Bijan is in like the RB 6, 7, 8 conversation. But that's it. Yeah. I say yes. Your wide receivers are strong. I like Brian Thomas, but your wide receivers are strong and getting healthy at the right time. If this trade is on the table for you, I say yes. I say yes. Do it. Get Saquon. You're getting him. You're getting the bye week out of the way now. You'll have him locked and loaded as your wide receiver or your running back 1 rest of the season. Start from week 6 onward, you just put him into your RB1 slot and forget about it. You're doing the same thing with Bijan in theory, but he's been pedestrian relative to expectations. So, yeah, I say do it. Appreciate the Super Nino, and that is your 10th. Your support of the channel means a lot. Much appreciated. Hopefully that thought process helps. Yeah, I would rather have. Yeah, if I had Bijan, I'd rather have Saquon too. It's like sometimes it's that simple. Just take the ancillary piece away from the trade. Would you rather have Saquon or would you rather have Bijan? For fantasy purposes, it's kind of a no. It's kind of a no-brainer right now. All right. If Crumbly Heads is still in here, he dropped some questions in the Discord, so I am quickly going to get to those. But I see everybody else's questions. Thank you for your patience. Again, for anybody just joining, coming in late, if you haven't been here before, or maybe you have been here before and you didn't hear my spiel, I have to give the love to my members first. As a perk of being a member of the channel, I will answer your questions first and give your comments priority responses as well. But I see everybody else's questions. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming in and hanging out today and waiting. I will get to everybody. Thanks in advance. Yeah, first one looks good where you start Allen. Crumbly, that's where you start Allen and Bijan and Ford. That one looks fine. And then there's two more here, and then I will move back to the YouTube chat. Again, thank you guys for your patience. Stroud, Dowdle, Algier, Jefferson, Nico, Harrison, Wandale. Get Dubs out of there. If you still have Romeo Dubs in there, Crumbly Heads, get him out of there. He was suspended by the team. You could, I guess, go back to it's a desperate situation, but I guess you could try to go back to Mark Andrews. Don't love it, but you got to get Dobbs out of there. He was suspended by the team, so make sure to get him out. And then there's one more in the Discord. Again, the Discord is free to join if you would like. You can always crowdsource from the community over there. I will be available in the Discord tomorrow morning. No start-sit stream in all likelihood Sunday morning, with there being a London game. You guys want to watch that game, and so do I. But I will be available in the Discord to run by any last-minute start-sit thoughts before the full slate tomorrow. Second link in the description of this live stream and all of the videos and streams on this channel. Fields, Jacobs, you already fired up Bijan, Nico, Higgins, Ertz, Deontay, Wandale. Yeah. Man, am I suggesting Wicks over Higgins? I think I am. I would say, dude, this you've got a lot of good options in this group, Crumbly Heads. I want to get Dontavian Wicks into my lineup, and I might be willing to take either Deontay or Higgins out of my lineup to do it, which I know sounds nuts. Maybe not Deontay. He's still in a good spot, and he's on a heater right now. I may actually play Dontavian Wicks over T. Higgins. That's where I'm at. Yeah. I like T. Higgins tomorrow as a solid play and a wide receiver too, but Dontavian Wicks has he's bursting with breakout candidate vibes. No Romeo Dobbs, no Christian Watson. Great matchup against the Rams. I think you get Wicks into your lineup, Crumbly Heads, and I think you take Higgins out to do it. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. And he may be in here, he may not be in here, so I'm gonna respond in the Discord. Just to give him that. Yep, there we go. All right. I think my members are taken care of. And again, thank you, Nino, for the super. I got Derek's question. I got Greg's questions. I got Jake's questions. I got David's question about Kincaid versus McBride. Go Kincaid, because McBride is downgraded on the injury report. Yeah, I think I got all of my member questions, but I'll keep an eye out if there are any others. Let me know. If I missed any member questions, let me know. I will immediately follow up and get to it. So that you guys are actually getting what you're paying for. Appreciate it. All right, back up to the top. We're picking two in full PPR here between Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, and Dontavian Wicks. Holy hell. These are some good options. In full PPR, I mean, Wilson is in a good spot. Wicks is the breakout candidate of week 5. Olave is in a good spot on the road against Kansas City. They'll have to throw. I guess I would just, if you only have 2 spots, I guess I would go Olave and Garrett Wilson. I really want to get, I have Wicks over Brandon Ayuk and Jalen Waddle firmly right now. I don't think I can move him over Olave and Garrett Wilson, although Garrett Wilson's play recently makes me want to. I will say Olave, you fire up. I will say Wilson is your boring safe play because that's where we're at with Garrett freaking Wilson right now. He's a boring safe-ish play. But if you need upside, if you feel like you need to swing for the fences a little bit, I can't believe I'm saying this. I might play Dontavian Wicks over Garrett Wilson. If I'm an underdog and I feel like I need to be aggressive, Garrett Wilson's just not getting it done. It's a good matchup tomorrow. That's great. That's good. And he's still viable as a wide receiver 2, not as the wide receiver 1 we drafted him to be. This would be a spot for him to break out compared to his other matchups to start the season. So I'm still inclined to tentatively go with him. But if you want to play aggressive, if you want to swing for the fences, that's Wicks. Olave, I think, is the guy that I'm definitively putting in my lineup. On the road against Kansas City, I think you have to play Olave. And then I'll say Wilson is your boring safe play because that's where we're at with Garrett Wilson. It's a good matchup at least. The moonshot swing for the fences that is in play for me is Wicks. He's way up the totem pole right now. He's way up the totem pole in expectations right now. Olave definitively, Wilson floor, Wicks ceiling. That's where I'm at. The vibes are high and strong with Dontavian Wicks. If you picked him up, start him. Start him. Unless you have one of either Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, and then another guy that you got a couple rounds later but is performing at an elite level, Deebo Samuel, Nico Collins. If those are your 2 wide receivers, Jaden Reed, his team, Jaden Reed, you put over Wicks. Yeah, if it's not one of those names, I mean, Deontay, DK Metcalf, those guys are playing well right now. If it's not any of those names, Wicks, Dontavian Wicks, especially if you start 3 receivers. Bobby, thank you for the super. Very kind of you. Appreciate that very much. Again, as I work through these questions, if you are feeling generous enough to offer a super, you don't have to, but that will be a line jumper. So thank you, Bobby. Much appreciated. From the UK, I believe. Getting a little late in the day over there, but appreciate you tuning in. And for the super, thank you for the support. In full PPR, you need a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Mason, Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, Jaden Reed, Flowers, McLaurin, Wandale. Mason and Jacobs are your running backs. Running back and flex. I'm starting Mason and I'm starting Josh Jacobs. I'm buying Josh Jacobs. I think he's in a great spot tomorrow. The Rams are a run funnel and a pass funnel on defense. You want to start your players against the LA Rams, and Josh Jacobs' arrow is pointing up. He's having an efficient season on a per-touch basis. Look it up if you don't believe me. I'll tell you right now, I think he's averaging 4.6 yards on the season, somewhere around there. The only thing that's keeping him down right now is he hasn't caught the ball that much and he hasn't scored. We've weathered the storm with Jordan Love's absence. Stock is up on Josh Jacobs. Buy low on him if you can and need a running back. Give me Mason. Give me Jacobs as your running back and your flex. I'm starting Jaden Reed with confidence in my 1 wide receiver spot, and I think I'm starting... Oh, my God. Am I starting Wan'Dale Robinson over Garrett Wilson and Terry McLaurin? I don't know if I can go that far. But there is an argument. In full PPR leagues, there is an argument for Wan'Dale Robinson over Garrett Wilson. That is where we are in week 5 of 2024. Wan'Dale Robinson is a top... I think he's 5th in the NFL in targets, and Malik Neighbors is out. It's not a good spot. The footballers put it best. Wandale's that type of dude where you plug him into your starting lineup, you close your eyes, you don't watch the game, and you just check to see what the results are at the end. But you're probably going to be happy with them. You're probably going to be happy with the results. Yeah, Mason Jacobs, Jaden Reed are my slam dunks here, Bobby. Your two running backs go in the 1 RB and the flex spot, and Jaden Reed slam dunk against the Rams at 1 wide receiver spot with no Christian Watson and no Romeo Doubs. He's killing it with those two in the lineup anyway. Yeah, in full PPR, I'm playing Wandale without Malik Neighbors. Like, he might see 12 targets. He might see the usage that Neighbors has been seeing, which all he's doing as a rookie is leading the league in targets. Yeah. Mace in full PPR. If this was half PPR, I'd probably say Garrett Wilson. But since it's full PPR and we're expecting some volume for Wandale, Mason, Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Wandale Robinson. Those are my 4 starters from this group. I am benching Garrett Wilson, even though it's a good matchup. It's a better matchup than the ones he's had the first 4 weeks, but we haven't seen enough from him. We haven't seen enough. I'm not even considering Zay Flowers. No disrespect to Zay Flowers, but I just don't think he belongs in this conversation right now. He's too inconsistent. Yeah, the usage should be fine tomorrow against Cincinnati. Baltimore maybe has to throw a little bit more. Division opponent against the Bengals. We expect that offense to do well as well. But, like, Flowers is not as trustworthy as anybody here. Terry is solid, but this is a tougher matchup against the Browns. You're going to see Denzel Ward. It's a bad spot. This is a true litmus test for Jaden Daniels tomorrow. That being said, you are firing him up as a top 2 or 3 option at quarterback in all formats. But tough spot for McLaurin. Tough spot for the Washington offense. This is going to be a litmus test against the Browns defense. This is a let's see what you're made of type of thing. I expect them to be fine, but I'm not predicting a blow up. Could happen. That's how well they've been playing. But TBD. Mason, Jacobs, Jaden Reed, Wandale Robinson, Bobby. Appreciate the super. Very kind of you. Thank you so much for the support. Yes, Greg, you're rejecting Devontae for Debo. We're not trading Debo Samuel for Devontae Adams. No. We just don't, like, where's he going to go? Is he the clear-cut wide receiver 1 when he gets traded there? If it's to Baltimore, I guess he is, but that's a run first. That's a run first team with Derrick Henry absolutely killing it right now. Does he go to Pittsburgh? Now he's battling George Pickens for targets, and Justin Fields has been a reclamation project, but, that's still like kind of a mess situation. If he goes to the Jets, I mean, I guess that's fine, but, like, Garrett Wilson's still there. So, no. I know you could say, well, San Francisco, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. Debo is even with all those guys, Debo's a focal point of that offense, and he's going to continue to work into the backfield as long as Christian McCaffrey continues to miss time. No, we're not trading Debo to acquire Devontae Adams. No. Nope. All right, let me go back up to the top. Appreciate everybody's patience as I work through these questions. I know you may be waiting for a little while. I got to work through my members first. And, of course, I've received a couple of supers. Appreciate that again, Nino and Bobby. Geno versus Fields. Fields is a top 5 play this week. Top 4 play this week at quarterback. The only names at quarterback that I am starting over Justin Fields this week in order are Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson. If I did not name anybody else, that means I like Justin Fields over that name. Over Kyler, over Brock Purdy, over Joe Burrow. That's anybody else. Justin Fields is 4th for me at quarterback this week. You're firing him easily over Geno. And against that Cowboys run defense, we're firing up Justin Fields with confidence. And then we're picking one between Ford, Hunt, Waddle, Akers, Downs. In full PPR, Downs. Josh Downs catching passes from Joe Flacco, who was singing his praises last week. 8 for 80 and a touchdown last week. Downs. I would say in full PPR, I like Kareem Hunt. He should be fine. Not over Downs. We still can't trust Waddle. I don't trust Cam Akers. And, I mean, Jerome Ford against Washington, that's a good spot. That is a good spot. What's Ford's usage been recently? Been a little up and down. Still the league guy. Obviously, Nick Chubb is still out. 10 for 58 last week against Vegas. That's good, efficient production. 7 catches for 27 yards. Ford does have two games this year with, opening week 1 against the Cowboys, he had 6 catches, and then last week he had 7. But then he had 4 combined in week 2 and 3. So usage there is a little volatile. I will say Ford is your safe play here, and Downs is your, aggressive play. If you think you need to be aggressive, I would play Downs. If you think you can play it safe, I would play Ford. But in full PPR, Downs has a lot more appeal in this matchup. Ford, safe. Downs is your aggressive play, like your swing for the fences. Pick 1 in full PPR. Ford, Kirk, Jawan Jennings, Rome Odunze. So Kirk continues to have a boost because Evan Ingram is never to be seen again, has fallen off the face of the earth. Ford, great matchup. The usage has been solid. Kirk's usage has been solid recently. They finally got him going after 2 confusing weeks where Kirk had 7 targets combined weeks 1 and 2. Weeks 3 and 4, he has 22 targets. So, he's back from a usage perspective. He goes up against Indianapolis, which is absolutely a gettable secondary. I will give you a similar answer to the question right ahead of you. I said Ford is a floor play and Downs is a ceiling play. Ford is a safe play. You should be perfectly fine with 10 to 12, maybe 12 to 13 PPR points from Ford. Kirk is an upside play. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, the wide receiver would be the play. It depends on, for me, in this specific situation, are you a favorite? Are you looking like you're in good shape? Maybe just play Ford. If you need to be aggressive and swing for the fences, then maybe play Christian Kirk. I got a lot of questions in here. I see all of you. I will get to all of you, I promise. Appreciate everybody's patience. I don't see any repeat questions, which is good. Thank you. But I guess just a reminder, please don't flood the chat with repeat questions. If I miss it, then by all means, let me know. But I tend to do a pretty good job of keeping my spot in line. I will get to everybody. Thank you for your patience. I will go as long as I need to get the questions answered. Fear not. And if you miss it, of course, I can rehash it. Start 4. Well, you're starting Jamar Chase and you're starting Deebo Samuel as your 2 wide receivers. You're starting. Damn, you need to. You drafted well. You either made some good trades or you drafted well. Either way, your predicament is you need to reach out to your commissioner and tell you to add some more starting lineup or starting roster spots. Deebo and Chase, I think, are your starting 2 wide receivers. It's 2 running backs and a flex. I thought it was 1 running back and a flex. All right. Brees is in a bad spot, but you have to play Brees. You have to play Aaron Jones, and you have to play Mason. I would sit Marvin Harrison against the 49ers. Yeah. We're playing Brees Hall at 1. You're playing Brees Hall and Aaron Jones, the 2 running backs in the London game tomorrow. Those are your 2 running backs. You're playing Chase and Deebo as your 2 wide receivers, and you're playing Jordan Mason in the flex. Yep. Hall, Chase, Deebo, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason, Marvin Harrison is your sit. I'm going to keep, and I am pinning the questions that I am responding to, so hopefully that helps with spots in line and all that good stuff. Debo and Dobbins for Jamar Chase. You would get Chase. It depends on the rest of your roster, like Derek mentioned. However, Chase is the best player here. As long if your running back depth is solid, I would ask. Debo has been very good on a per opportunity basis. Obviously, he missed a week due to injury, and his usage last week was a little minimal in his first game back, but his per touch numbers were still strong. We have high expectations for Debo. I don't think it is unfair for you to try to come back in this trade and ask for the last running back on your trade partner's roster to make it an even 2-for-2 swap. You can always set, unless they have an open roster spot at the moment because of injuries. They have to drop somebody to make this trade anyway. So I would ask for the last running back on the person's roster just to even things out. Even if you want to cut whoever that is to make your own pickup, I would do that. If you can get that done, then I would say, yeah, that's fine. Try to get the last running back on the trade partner's roster to even it out. If assuming that they would have to cut somebody to make this trade go through, if they have an open roster spot, then they have an open roster spot, and maybe this suggestion is moot. But if they don't have an open roster spot, that means that they would have to drop somebody anyway. See if you can get their last running back on their roster, whoever it is, just to get a running back in the trade. It can be a downgrade from J.K. Dobbins. That's fine. If you can do that, I'm definitely good with the trade. If you can do that, I'm definitely good with that. Anytime, and this is for anybody, if you have trade conversations going on and you're the one who's offering 2 players for 1, get the last guy back on your trade partner's bench. At worst, you just drop the dude. If you really feel strongly about making the trade and you want to make the trade and you want to get the 2 for 1 because that 1 is the best player in the trade, understood, totally makes sense. Get that extra guy back if your trade partner has a full roster and would have to drop somebody anyway. Get somebody back in return. Get the running back in return that they would have to drop to make this happen. That's for anybody. If you're thinking about making a 2-for-1 trade, try to get that. Even if it's clearly the worst player in the deal, at least then you are the one who gets to make the decision on dropping that player versus holding on to them. Food for thought. Let's see. It's a start 5. Hall, Chase, Debo, Harrison, Aaron Jones, Mason. Hall, Chase, Debo, Harrison, Jones, Mason. It's 6. I can't count. Start 5. What's the additional spot? Is it a wide? I would start everybody other than Harrison. Hall, Chase, Debo, Joe. Yeah. Okay, I got it. We had it. We're on the same page. Sorry, I miscounted. It's okay. We got it. We're on the same page. Hall, Chase, Debo, Jones, Mason. Yep. Start 5. Got it. Let's see. Trade Stroud and Rachaad White for Geno and ETN. Trade Stroud and Rachaad for Geno and ETN. I don't mind getting off of Rachaad White. I don't mind moving off of him. I don't know if y'all noticed, but Bucky Irving was listed even after he fumbled. He's now, I think, listed as the RB1 on the team's depth chart. I don't know if y'all noticed that. So something to think about. So I don't mind getting rid of Rachaad White. Stroud down to Geno it's okay. I don't love that, but I don't mind moving from Rachaad White to ETN, even though ETN is losing work. ETN has been losing work to Tank Bigsby. Slight downgrade going from Stroud to Geno. decent upgrade, slight upgrade going from Rashad to ETN. I think because I prefer the slightly better running back value. The only concern here that I have is that while Rashad White has been abysmal running the ball, I know he broke a big run Thursday night, but his other carries were like 9 or 10 carries for like 16 yards or 20 yards, something like that. It wasn't good. But he's on the better team. ETN is on a Jacksonville squad that is like, I don't know. They might already be making their vacation plans for January. They're that bad. The vibes are horrendous. So I do have a little bit of concern acquiring players on bad teams, even though I do not trust Rashad White any longer. I'll roll the dice on the upgrade at running back in exchange for the slight downgrade at quarterback. I do think I ultimately say, yes, this is fine to acquire Geno and ETN. I think I'm okay with this. I think I'm okay with this trade. Yeah, I think I'm all right with it. Wicks or Cooper at the flex. I love Dontavian Wicks this week, but if there is a short list of receivers who I'm still starting over him, Amari Cooper is one of them. He has been frustrating this year, make no mistake, but he's also been the victim of some bad luck. This is a beautiful matchup. Amari Cooper is a guy that I do want to continue going back to the well on. Wicks is hot right now. He is the breakout candidate for week 5, and I think he will do well. But Amari Cooper is a little bit of bad luck away from being a wide receiver 1 on the season thus far. I think I need to rock with Amari Cooper. I'm going to sink or swim with him. The usage is there. The opportunities are there. He had an 80-yard touchdown called back last week due to a holding penalty. He dropped another touchdown, which is more on him. But he had another touchdown wiped out in week 3, also due to a penalty. We're a couple of penalties away from him having like wide receiver 1 numbers on the season thus far. And this is a great matchup. I think as bullish as I am on Dontavian Wicks this week, and I do want to find a way to get him into my lineup, Cooper's a guy that I have to play over him for one more week. I got to play Amari Cooper over him for one more week. All right, we're going to keep it moving. Yeah, good to see everybody. And thank you again for everybody's patience as I work through these questions. Pick 2, Diggs, Pittman, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy. Texans are playing Buffalo, right? That's a revenge game for Stephon Diggs. So we're wheels up on Stephon Diggs of this group. And then it's between, I would say, Pittman and Brian Thomas. I think I ultimately lean Pittman because of Joe Flacco. I feel stronger about the Colts wide receivers with Flacco in at quarterback instead of Anthony Richardson. So I'll take Diggs. I'll take Pittman. Brian Thomas is again a good player. I like a lot. And his usage should remain pretty good with Evan Ingram having fallen off the face of the earth. There is a possibility for some downside here. Although I guess, man, Thomas's floor has actually been higher than Pittman's floor. But Pittman is in a good spot with Flacco throwing him the ball. I think he's the guy that I slightly prefer. I wish I could play Brian Thomas Jr., but I think I have to play Diggs and Pittman. Diggs is playing well. I know that Tank Dell is back, but this is a revenge game for him against the Buffalo Bills. You know this is like personal for him. I don't think that breakup went smoothly. It seems by all accounts that didn't end well between player and team. You know that Diggs wants to get back at his old squad. at home tomorrow. And then Pittman, I just think his situation is a lot stronger, a lot safer with Flacco in as quarterback. And the difference for me here is that I believe Pittman is his team's wide receiver 1. Brian Thomas is not quite there yet. Christian Kirk is the guy who I think is still for now the team's wide receiver 1, although Thomas is trending up. Worthy is 4th for me here, and I know that his opportunity is huge, but he's going to see Lattimore on Monday night, and as a 21-year-old rookie, I feel like that's just like too tall of a task. Could he come through on a big play or maybe a broken play? Sure, but that's tough to bank on given these other options here. Where am I at? Just as I say, I'm good at keeping my spot in line. Hold on. I got it. Full PPR, we're sitting one between Judy, Pittman, and Tutu Atwell. Play Pittman. Again, I think Pittman's floor is safe. Again, now that Flacco's in there, he should be fine. So I think you play Pittman. So, the one to sit here is between Tutu, who is seeing an expanded role with the LA Rams, and then Jerry Jeudy, who he's been solid. He's been solid in a great matchup against Washington. I think I slightly lean 2-2 here. Like the Rams are now, it looks like they're moving away from Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson, and they're going with Jordan Whittington and Tutu Atwell. And Jair Alexander is actually on the injury report for this game. So, they may be hurting in the secondary, and they're already a gettable secondary. The Packers are beatable through the air. And it's a home game for the Rams. I think it's a road game for the Browns. It is. It's a road game for the Browns. It's a home game for the Rams. I'll say 2-2 is in. It's close, but I'll say sit Judy. And I trust Matthew Stafford right now more than I trust Deshaun Watson. Start Pittman, start Tutu, bench Judy. That's where I'm at. Let's see. Oh boy, we have a murderer's row of running back options here. Daria Gumbawale, Tyrone Tracy, Jaleel McLaughlin, or Miles Sanders. I thought I saw Miles Sanders was on the injury report. Am I making that up? He will play. He was, but he will play. He was on the injury report with an illness. He was added on Thursday because of an illness, but he's good to go. And is getting anywhere from a third to 40% of the snaps. Yeesh. Gumbawale could be fine, I guess, in PPR leagues. Tracy has an expanded role with Devin Singletary's doubtful. I think that's where you go. You go Tyrone Tracy and you hope for the best because he's going to start, I would think. They'll mix in other guys, but Tyrone Tracy figures, he's the depth guy now, but he's likely the lead back tomorrow. It might be gross. We might be hoping for 7 points here, 6 or 7 points here, but a lot of these guys, like you mentioned in your own, these are low-end options. So it's kind of like close your eyes and hope for the best. I think Tyrone Tracy is the preferred option here. McLaughlin, I think, is off the radar. Gumbawale could be fine in a PPR scoring format, but I'll take Tracy. He's likely the lead back for the New York Giants, even though it's not a good matchup, but he should get the opportunities. He should get the opportunities. That is a murderer's row of choices at the running back position. I got Greg's questions. Derek, appreciate you jumping in as well. I got your questions. Got my members. Again, for anybody just jumping in, welcome. Thanks for hanging out for whether it's a minute or 10 minutes today. Thanks for thinking enough to come hang out. I do get to my members first, so I do jump around a little bit in the chat. Appreciate y'all's patience. I will get to every question. You can only have 2 tight ends on the roster. Do you have to play 2 tight ends? Or was this just, yeah, I mean, you have Goddard on a bye week and Engram who isn't playing. Oh, damn. Well, can you this is a rough situation. Yeah, I mean, number 1, especially this early in the season, well, late in the season too. I mean, number 1, always go for the win. Always go for the win. Unless you're 4-0 and your team is cooking with gas, I understand not wanting to drop Dallas Goedert. You certainly don't want to drop Dallas Goedert. Evan Engram is Evan Engram is killing people right now. Hurt his hamstring in practice and hasn't, or in warm-ups, and hasn't been seen for 3 weeks. We've had calf strains and knee injuries from other players, and they suit up the same week. Evan Engram, you are soft as Charmin, my friend. I say that as somebody who's talking behind a microphone, but like, we have expectations of these guys. Like, sorry. You can't like put him on IR. Is there not an IR spot for Engram that frees the roster spot up? I mean, if you are 4-0, could you like? Here's what I would do. Here's my final thoughts, and then I do have to keep it moving. Is there somebody even more desperate at tight end, and they would be willing to wait on Evan Engram? Could you trade Engram and and the last running back on your roster for like the RB5 or 4 on another person's roster? I assume you're not going to be able to get this done. If you can't, since you have Goddard, if you could use a win and an unless you're 4-0 and dominating, or even 3-1 with a lot of points scored, if that's your situation, then yeah, sure, maybe eat this week and keep it moving. If not, drop Engram and pick up somebody who could give you some points. Pick up Strange. Pick up his backup. It's a good matchup at least. Maybe he comes through with a touchdown. But since you have Goddard, that makes Engram a little bit more expendable for you. So yeah, sure. You can I hate to say it, but you could drop Evan Engram even though he's expected to return week 6. You have Dallas Goedert, so you can move forward with him for the rest of the season in all likelihood, although his usage goes down when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith come back. But we need a live body. We need a live body. Hell, I guess you could. I guess from that perspective, you could cut Goddard, assuming considering that the Eagles are going to get A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith back after week 5. You could just cut Goddard on bye this week and pick somebody else up if you want to hang on to Engram. But ultimately, I would drop one of those two. I guess Goddard is potentially the better option. He's been better this year. It's a hodgepodge situation. That's not a fun one. That's not a fun one. Goddard's been more productive, but A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith will be back week 6. Engram should maintain a solid role when he comes back, but he was supposed to come back this week. All right, fine. Keep Goddard, cut Engram, pick up Strange. Hope he can get a touchdown. That's not a fun situation to be in. Sorry. Assuming you need to go for the win. And a lot of people are still, not everybody here is 4-0 and dominating their league, or 3-1 with a lot of points scored. So, in all likelihood. So you probably got to play for, if you can get 5 or 6 points, then get the 5 or 6 points. Who are we sitting here? Wandale, Amari Cooper, or Xavier Worthy? I'm sitting Xavier Worthy from this group. He's going to see Marshawn Lattimore, and, I just don't know how likely we can trust a 21-year-old rookie to assume the wide receiver 1 position for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like Wandale's opportunity. He's 5th in the NFL in targets right now, and Malik Neighbors is out. And Amari Cooper can still do it. He's just been the victim of some bad luck, and it's a great matchup. I'm playing these two over Xavier Worthy. Yeah, Worthy could come through on a busted play or a broken play, and he's got speed to kill. He's got speed for days, but Wandale and Amari are right now, they're more proven players, obviously, especially Cooper, but Wandale is top 5 in targets this year, and Malik Neighbors is out. Sit Xavier Worthy. Sit Xavier Worthy. I'm not advising on Xavier Worthy this week. Would I play Ayuk over Wandale Robinson and Shaheed? In full PPR, I am playing Wandale Robinson over Brandon Ayuk. Yes. We need, until we see something from Brandon Ayuk, and this is a good matchup, and I think they're at home, so it's a get-right spot. But, like, week 3 was a get-right spot for Brandon Ayuk when George Kittle and Deebo Samuel were out, and Jawan Jennings went nuts. Last week should have been fine, even not a slightly tougher matchup. But what do you have? He had like 2 catches at home. Like, come on, Brandon Ayuk. Like, I think the contract dispute was a distraction for him all offseason long, and now he's a little sluggish, slow getting out of the gate. Like, yeah, meanwhile, Wandale's top 5 in targets. His teammate Malik Neighbors is first, and he's out. I'm playing Wandale Robinson over a lot of guys this week, including Brandon Ayuk. And then Shaheed, I mean, I think in a vacuum, I would probably play Shaheed over Brandon Ayuk, but I will tell you, if you want to play Brandon Ayuk, that he's fine as a floor play, a safe play. But if you think you need to be aggressive in your matchup, yeah, I would probably play Rashid Shaheed over Brandon Ayuk. And I'm definitely playing Wicks over Brandon Ayuk for sure. We haven't seen anything from him this year. Nothing. The contract was a distraction, and now he's all, slow out of the gate. He had a couple prime opportunities in weeks 3 and 4, and he did nothing with it. I'm sitting Ayuk for one more week. Yeah. So I'll say, but you can go Ayuk versus Shaheed. Ayuk is a safe floor play if you think you can play it safe. If you're a big favorite, then maybe fine, play Ayuk. If you think you need to be aggressive, I would play Shaheed. And Wandale for sure. I would play Wandale over Ayuk. If it's only one, if you're only starting one, then Wandale. If you're only starting one, then Wandale. And that's definitive for me. Not a great spot for Wandale tomorrow. The Seahawks may be in a position where they can key on him, but 12 targets is 12 targets. I got a drop question in full PPR. Who would I rather drop between Calvin Ridley? I'm not dropping Ridley. I know it's been pulling teeth, but I'm not dropping Calvin Ridley, not yet. Roshan or Tank Bigsby. Do you have to make a drop? Like what? Like, do you have an illegal lineup right now, or is there a guy on your bench who you want to get into your starting lineup and you can't do it because you have too many guys on your roster? You have an illegal lineup, so your platform won't let you make the swap? Or do you have your lineup set and you're just wondering who to cut? Like, if your lineup is set, I wouldn't drop any of these guys. If your lineup is not set, I think I would keep Roshan over Bigsby unless you have Travis Etienne, and you don't. If you don't have to drop anybody, if you have the lineup in that you want for this week, then don't drop anybody. If you need to get rid of somebody to have a legal lineup and therefore make some roster tinkering, I would drop Bigsby. One on IR, you are okay. Yeah, I would drop Bigsby. I think Roshan has some pretty good value as the goal line back. And I don't think DeAndre Swift could go on a nice little run here, The Bears have a few good matchups coming up, starting with this week against the Carolina Panthers. But Roschon has been slowly starting to mix in a little bit more, and he was getting some goal line opportunities last week. I think I would keep Roschon. And don't drop Ridley. I know it's pulling teeth, but I'm not there with dropping Calvin Ridley. He would get picked up right away. Pick one defense to start: Chicago, Miami, or Washington. Of this group, I guess I would go with the Commanders because how much faith do we have in Deshaun Watson right now? He looks awful. He looks terrible. The Washington Commanders defense is a funnel. You can score points on them. You can get production on them. For as electric and enticing as their offense is, their defense is not great. They are bottom 12 in the league in rushing yards allowed per game. They're bottom 10 in the league. They're bottom 10 in the league in passing yards per game allowed as well. This is a gettable Washington defense. But you know what else is gettable? Deshaun Watson. So, this is the opposite of that question of like what happens when an unstoppable force meets what's the saying? Y'all know. The unstoppable force meets an immovable object. Washington versus Deshaun is a stoppable force against a movable object. So it's a matter of which one breaks first. I would be I'm willing to roll the dice against with a defense going against Deshaun Watson. He looks terrible. If these are your top options, if the Broncos are not available, the Seahawks are not available, then I'll say Washington. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. Appreciate anybody that is also jumping in and giving their thoughts. I definitely encourage folks to give their 2 cents if they feel a certain way about a question. Let's help each other out here. Flex Leggett or Whittington in full PPR. So Carolina's on the road against Chicago. Whittington is at home against the Packers. That's a good spot. They both came through last week. Leggett came through in a little bit of a greater way than Whittington because Whittington didn't score. However, he saw 97% of the snaps and he caught 6 passes for 8 targets on 8 targets for 62 yards. When the Rams decide to play a wide receiver, they play him for the entire game. Whittington and Tutu Atwell look to be the guys that are on course to get the most work. Where did Leggett map out as far as the snaps that he played? Leggett, I think that's what I said. He played 87%. So, huge amount of work. I give the slight nod to Whittington. I think they are both really good streamers. I think Whittington and Leggett are both really good streamers tomorrow. But in full PPR, I'll give the slight nod to Whittington. They're at home. Matthew Stafford is his quarterback. I trust that environment and situation a little bit more than I trust Andy Dalton on the road. Dalton's been playing well, but I think the situation is a little bit better for Whittington. Good beatable matchup at home with Matthew Stafford catching you the football and you don't come off the field. I'll take Whittington in full PPR. I like Leggett. Don't get it twisted. Leggett is really good, but or is looking like he's growing, emerging, getting better each week. I will take Whittington for this week in particular, but it's close. Start Justice, Roschon, Akers, or Tracy in full PPR. So again, I don't trust Akers. I'm intrigued by Roschon, but DeAndre Swift is going to continue to mix in. I think my answer here is Tracy, simply from an opportunity perspective. Devin Singletary is doubtful. This is not a great spot for the Giants. So there's definitely some pause that I have here. But Singletary is not going to play. Neighbors is not going to play. Somebody needs to step up and pick up some production. Tracy figures to get a lot of backfield work, whatever he can handle tomorrow. Akers, uninspiring. Will split work with Daria Gumbawale. Roshan, role is decent. Could be the goal line back. Decent matchup, but DeAndre Swift is on, had a great game last week. We'll continue to mix in. And then, of course, Justice Hill looks like a really good player and a regular in what the Ravens want to do on offense, but he's behind Derrick Henry, who's playing yet again for like the 14th year in a row, like a top 3 running back. I'll say Tracy from an opportunity perspective. I got David's question. Kincaid, I got Jake's question. Josh Jacobs or Dontavian Wicks? Jacobs. Let's go with the volume runner. I mean, Wicks, if this is a full PPR league, then Wicks has a lot of upside appeal, and the blow-up looks like it could be on its way. But I'm buying Josh Jacobs. He's running the ball well. He's averaging over 4.5 yards per carry. That is good. It's not great. It's not like best in the league, but it's one of the better Jacobs seasons, at least through 5 games anyway, thus far. Jordan Love is back. The arrow on this offense is pointing straight up, and they're getting a funnel in the Rams defense. I mean, so I guess Wicks is in this same offense. In full PPR, this is very close, but I think ultimately if it's at half PPR or standard scoring, then I think Jacobs definitively. In full PPR, I would still even go with Jacobs, but the conversation is a little closer. Ultimately, my answer is Josh Jacobs. He's a buy low candidate for me, by the way. I think people are, maybe he's flying under the radar for 2 reasons. He's not catching the ball a ton yet, and he hasn't scored yet. The arrow's pointing up on the Packers offense with Jordan Love back in the mix. And Jacobs is operating as as a definitive 1A. Emmanuel Wilson's getting involved, but Jacobs is playing well and still operates as the clear starter. I got to go with Jacobs. Jacobs is due for a tutter. This could be the week it happens. Jacobs is due for a touchdown. He has at least 6 in every year of his career. Jacobs is due. I say Jacobs. Full PPR, it's close. Half PPR and standard scoring, not as close. But ultimately, I'm saying Josh Jacobs. Give me the starting running back. Olave, Higgins, or Johnson? Is this Deontay Johnson? These are your options. You can only play one of these dudes. I got to ride the wave with Deontay. I have to. How many targets does he have over the past 2 weeks since Andy Dalton got inserted as a starter? 27. Deontay is like a low end. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much here because there's a lot of good wide receivers that are in a little bit better situations, like T. Higgins. Olave is his team's wide receiver 1 right now as well, but like Deontay has 27 targets the past 2 weeks. He's delivered wide receiver 1 performances in both of them. Deontay over Olave, over Higgins. Where do the Bears rank as far as passing yards allowed per game? They're actually a pretty good, on a per game basis, the Bears are actually a pretty good unit against the pass. Olave gets Kansas City. There's nothing scary about that matchup at all. Higgins gets Baltimore. That's a good matchup. Deontay's in the worst matchup of this group, but he's doing the most of this group as well. I'll say Deontay, especially in full PPR. I'll say Deontay in full PPR. I guess even, yeah, I it's tough. Deontay is in the toughest matchup of this group, but he's doing the most. He's doing the most. I'll say Deontay. It's close. I agree with this assessment. If it's Downs and Flacco looks like he's trending to play. This is a tougher spot for Jordan Addison. I know he came through. He came through last week, if I remember correctly. He had a good game. The Vikings offense in general had a good game. Yeah, 3 for 72. So Addison continues to be kind of like a low volume guy, but he can make a big play. 3 catches on 4 targets for 72 yards and a touchdown. So Addison's that type of dude who he's doing the most with the least, which good player, but he's not commanding like significant work. So I'll say Downs. Flacco, it will play. Anthony Richardson has been downgraded to doubtful. Flacco's been taking the first team reps in practice. So Downs, we're locking in Downs. And you're playing Fields definitively. Even if Anthony Richardson plays, he will not. He's listed doubtful. Flacco, again, took all the first team reps in practice this week by all accounts. Flacco will be the starter. Fields is your quarterback. Unless you have Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, or Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields is your quarterback. He's fourth for me this week, and he's fourth definitively over Brock Purdy, over Joe Burrow, over Kyler Murray, over anybody else that you could think of. In this matchup against the Cowboys, Justin Fields is fourth definitively. Okay, moving right along. Where's my spot in line? I got the Jacobs question. I got the Deontay question. I got the Fields. Yep, okay. I got Greg's questions. Again, special shout out to all my members. Appreciate your support. This is a trade question. Who would I rather have? Richardson, Flacco, so the Colts quarterback room, Rico Dowdle and Terry McLaurin, or Trevor Lawrence, Stephon Diggs, and Devin Singletary? Richardson has been a pain in the ass this year, but he is still the guy with far and away the most upside at the quarterback position. So the clear guy here at quarterback is Richardson. I'd rather have... It's a toss-up between Diggs and Terry McLaurin. Diggs has been playing well, but McLaurin is guaranteed to remain the Commanders' wide receiver 1. I guess assuming that unless the Commanders trade for Devontae Adams, which I don't know that that's necessarily going to happen. I think I slightly prefer to have McLaurin over Diggs. Dowdle and Singletary it's close. It's close. Singletary is the better player, but Dowdle is emerging as I'd rather have the Richardson side. I'd rather have side A, the first side you mentioned, because Richardson has the most upside of these quarterbacks. I would slightly prefer McLaurin because of his guaranteed target share right now. Diggs is off to a strong start, but Nico is that team's wide receiver 1, and a healthy Tank Dell cuts into Stephon Diggs' usage week to week. Dowdle and Singletary are solid RB3 flex options rest of season, so that's a bit of a push for me. Give me the Anthony Richardson, Terry McLaurin side. Give me the Anthony Richards side. And you traded. This is a huge freaking trade. You traded Mahomes, Jefferson, Mixon, and Jalen Wright for Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas, James Conner, Braylon Allen. I mean, massive upgrade for fantasy purposes going from Mahomes to Jaden Daniels. Big downgrade going from Jefferson to Brian Thomas, but Brian Thomas has been solid. Mixon's banged up, so we'll take Conner right now. And I would prefer to have Braylon Allen over Jalen Wright for sure. Yeah, I mean, the Justin Jefferson is a big loss, but I would rather have all of the other three pieces you got in this trade. Yeah, I feel fine about that, especially going from Mahomes to Jaden Daniels. That's a clear win for you. It sucks to give up Jefferson, but I'd rather have the other. If you did a 1-for-1, I'd rather have Jaden Daniels than Mahomes. I'd rather have Justin Jefferson than Brian Thomas. Right now, I'd rather have Conner than Mixon, and I'd rather have Braylon Allen as a stash over Jalen Wright. Yeah, I'll take that. That works. That works. It hurts to lose Jefferson, but it's great to grab Jaden Daniels. And it's great to get off of Mahomes. Mahomes is not a viable fantasy quarterback in one quarterback leagues. He wasn't with a healthy Rashee Rice. So I can't imagine he's viable now. Jaden Daniels is a league winner at quarterback. So, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I got this question. Diggs, Pittman. Diggs and Pittman over Brian Thomas and Worthy. Hopefully you were able to catch it. But I did give you those thoughts. Diggs and Pittman are my two out of those four. Start one at flex, full PPR. Dontavian Wicks, Jacoby Myers, Xavier Legette, Josh Downs. I'm between Wicks and Downs here. I think Wicks and Downs are both guys I want to get into my starting lineup. I don't know who I trust more. I like them both. I think I go Wicks. Wicks has all the hype right now. Josh Downs does as well, but I think if you had to quantify it, I think the hype with Wicks is a little bit stronger than the hype with Josh Downs. It is deserved. He's going to be a full-fledged, slam dunk, no doubt full-time player for the Green Bay Packers this weekend in a great matchup. I think I go Wicks. Jacksonville's a great matchup too, to be honest, for the Colts pass catchers. I'll say Wicks. I will say Wicks. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes needs to be tried for war crimes after what happened to Rashee Rice. He was like, hey, guys, did you draft me in a one quarterback league and I've sucked for you? Let me make myself worse. Take out my wide receiver one. Unreal. Yeah, I love unloading Patrick Mahomes. You have to start him in Superflex leagues. You have no choice. But in one quarterback leagues, I don't want Patrick Mahomes with a 10-foot pole. He's like the QB 16 on the year. That's not going to get better without Rashee Rice. And yeah, I say Wicks over Josh Downs. It's close, but Wicks is the breakout star in the making here for Week 5. Let's see. You have Pittman, you have Tyreek, you have DJ Moore, and you have Jordan Addison. Is this a full PP? Yeah, I got it. I think I have to play all these guys over Tyron Tracy if it's well, I don't know what the scoring is. Let me see if you shared it. I don't see it. I don't know what the scoring is here. Play Pittman. Play DJ Moore. It's a revenge game. He's playing the Chicago Bears. Whatever you think of the revenge game narrative, some people don't believe in it. I like to lean into it, sometimes to a fault. Play Pittman, play DJ Moore. And would I play either of them over Tyrone Tracy? Depends again on the scoring. I hate that. I hate that I have to say this, but in half PPR scoring, I may actually, dude. Am I about to say this? Would I bench Tyreek Hill for Tyrone Tracy in half PPR? They're on the road against New England. He's going to see Christian Gonzalez. Tyler Huntley's the starting quarterback. Not that the Giant situation is that much better. I hate that option. If it's full PPR, it's Tyreek Hill. If it's half PPR, I'll say Tyrone Tracy. Holy shit. Where were you in the year 2024 when Tyrone Tracy became a start suggestion over Tyreek Hill? Where were you in this moment in time, this moment in history? Full PPR, Tyreek. Half PPR, Tyrone Tracy. Start Pittman, start DJ Moore. Give me DJ Moore in that revenge game, playing his old team. Let's see if DJ Moore can't get into the end zone tomorrow. And yeah, if it's standard or half PPR, Tracy. If it's full PPR, Tyreek Hill. It is wild that that's where we're at with Tyreek Hill, but that's where we're at. The Dolphins' offense has been abysmal, putrid. You can't even trust the best player and one of the best players in the league. That's how bad the quarterback play has been. Achane, Ford, Adunze, and Coleman. Who to start in the flex? I'll say Jerome Ford. The usage has been there. Nick Chubb is not returning yet. This is a very beatable matchup against Washington. I'll say Ford. He had a nice game last week. Let's ride that wave. I don't trust Achane right now with this offense on the road against New England. Adunze is solid, but the volume isn't guaranteed. Same can be said for Keon Coleman. They're more like they're boom bust wide receiver threes. They're boom bust wide receiver threes. Ford has most of that backfield work to himself, and it's a good matchup. Ford, Jerome Ford, over Achane, over Adunze, over Keon Coleman. Yep. All right, where am I at? I keep asking myself that question. I apologize. Trade Gibbs and Addison for Neighbors and Achane. Yes. Yes. Holy shit. If you're acquiring the Neighbors side, yes. You're going to have to wait on Devon Achane for a few more weeks. You're not going to be able to trust Devon Achane for a few more weeks. Like, you can't trust him tomorrow against New England. I think the Dolphins, do they have a bye week next week? Or am I thinking of another team? They do. They have a week 6 bye. So you're taking the long view on Devon Achane, and then week 7, he's got the Colts. Good matchup. Week 8, potentially when Tua returns home against Arizona. Good matchup. And we're obviously not going to have Neighbors who's out with the concussion, but when all things are equal, Gibbs and Achane have the same upside. Neighbors is way better already than Jordan Addison. Yes. If you are willing to wait, if you're 0-4, well, it doesn't matter because Gibbs is on a bye this week anyway, and Addison is not an auto smash slam dunk play this week anyway. Yes, do the deal. Do the deal. Because 3 of these 4 dudes are not viable this week anyway. Addison's the only guy you could theoretically start in leagues that are, start 3 wide receivers and maybe you're dealing with some buys or some injuries. But Gibbs is on bye, Neighbors is out, and Achane can't be trusted on the road against New England with this terrible Miami Dolphins quarterback situation. So this week is a wash for you having Jordan Addison anyway. Yes. Take that trade. If you are giving up Gibbs and Addison and acquiring Neighbors and Achane, take that trade. If you're the one giving up Neighbors, then no. But yes, smash accept. Smash accept. Smash accept. GG's in the chat if you can get that trade pulled off. Yes. Yes. You're going to have to be patient, especially with Achane. But Neighbors right now is leading the league in targets and has wide receiver 1 upside rest of season. Jordan Addison is a nice player. He does not have wide receiver 1 upside for fantasy rest of season. Neighbors does. Gibbs and Achane both have RB1 upside. So the Neighbors for Addison swap tips the scales heavy. Yes, if you can make that happen, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Oh, God, we're bargain hunting at tight end. You need one between Noah Fant, Foster Moreau, and Jawan Johnson. Like my first inclination is to say Jawan. I know Foster Moreau. He had a touchdown week 1. He had another touchdown called back due to a penalty. And then he didn't do anything the past 2 weeks. So Foster Moreau is not a factor here, even with Taysom Hill being out. Oh man, Jawan Johnson caught a touchdown week 1, hasn't done anything since. Noah Fant will play against the Giants. I guess his floor has been fine, as far as tight ends go anyway. Fant is your desperation floor play. Jawan Johnson is your desperation upside play. So you might as well play Jawan Johnson. If you think you can play it safe, Fant should at least be able to get 3 or 4 PPR points. Jawan Johnson could get a 0, but I would say Jawan Johnson's ceiling is a little bit stronger than Fant's, because the difference is Fant, we know, is the guy at tight end for Seattle, but Seattle might not have to do that much against the Giants at home to handle their business. We know the Saints are going to have to throw the ball on the road against Kansas City. Fant is your boring desperation floor play. Jawan Johnson is your desperation upside play. And at tight end, with it being so volatile, I might just suggest to go with Jawan Johnson. I don't love it, but I think I would just go Jawan Johnson. Let's see. Do I play Huntley over Flacco? No. Not on the road against New England. Flacco is not great either, but I do not want to play Huntley on the road against New England. New England's offense is awful. Their pass defense isn't bad, but their run defense is, New England's pass defense isn't great, but their run defense is. Jacksonville, on the other hand, is a great matchup as far as passing yards allowed. So I'll say Flacco. If we're it's like a bottom of the barrel situation at quarterback for you, I'll say Flacco. It's a good matchup. Jacksonville gives up a lot of passing yards on a per game basis, so I'll say Flacco. Zach Moss or Ramondre Stevenson. Ugh. Gross. I mean, how much can we trust Ramondre right now? The fact that he's not going to start, but it's a good matchup. Moss, I have a little bit more faith in, but it's a bad matchup. In fact, it's probably like the worst matchup by the numbers. Baltimore gives up nothing on the ground. In full PPR, I'll say Ramondre, even though the vibes aren't great right now. It's a much better matchup. Miami is a way more beatable matchup on the ground than Baltimore is by far. We're rolling the dice big time, but we expect Ramondre to stay involved. So I'll say Ramondre. Not expected to start, but expected to remain involved. I'll say Ramondre. It's tough. Because Moss has been good, but it's a bad as matchup as it gets. I'll say Ramondre. Garrett Wilson, Dontavian Wicks, Chris Olave, Devon Achane. Sit Achane. Sit Achane on the road against New England. It's a bad spot. Play Wicks, play Olave, play Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's been difficult to trust, but he gets, for the first time this year, a better matchup, a plus matchup. So we'll rock with him for one more week. At least he has his quarterback. Achane doesn't have his quarterback in a bad matchup. Play your receivers. Play your receivers. Don't pick up. I'm not picking up all just yet. I'll play Jawan Johnson. They like all. The Bengals do. They like him a lot, but he's a dynasty guy right now, and that's probably it. His usage is like too inconsistent to trust. James Conner or Travis Etienne? Conner's on the road against San Francisco. Not an ideal spot. Although I expect him to get more usage than Etienne. Etienne is in a great matchup against Indianapolis, but Tank Bigsby is cutting into his work. I will say Etienne from a matchup perspective. He's difficult to trust. He's difficult to trust, but he's been kind of a boring floor play, so he's usable still. Yeah, that's tough. I guess I slightly prefer Etienne, but his usage is down. Matchup is good, usage is down. Conner, usage is fine. Matchup is not good. I guess Etienne for the matchup. I don't love it, but I guess Etienne for the matchup. Pick 2. And Nino, thanks again for the super. Appreciate it. Dell, Coleman, Leggett, Jennings, if no Kittle. That's the key with Jawan Jennings is no Kittle. Adunze or Sutton. I kind of like Dell in his return, although he hasn't done a whole lot yet. Sutton's got a good matchup against the Raiders. This full PPR? Is that what this is? I don't know if it's full PPR or not. I'll say Sutton. He came to life last week, and there's nothing scary about this matchup. And then The problem with waiting on Jennings is that it's the 425 window, and we don't know if Kittle's going to be out or not. Sutton and Leggett. That's where I'll go. Let's give Dell a week. Coleman is up and down. Jennings, we could fire up, but without knowing Kittle's status before the 1:00 games, that's a tough game to play. I will say Sutton and the Panthers rookie Leggett. As he's a full-time guy at this point with no Adam Thielen. Josh Downs or Jordan Addison? Downs. You have DJ Moore, Josh Downs, or Jordan. Is it a start 2? Then DJ Moore and Josh Downs. If it's a start 1, I'm very bullish on Josh Downs, but I think I have to go back to the well with DJ Moore for one more week in a revenge game against his old team. I like that narrative. I'm chasing that narrative, and they're at home. I'll roll the dice on DJ Moore. If it's a start 2, I'll throw Downs into that mix as well, and Addison would be third. It's a tougher matchup against the Jets for Addison. So it's in order that you listed those names: Moore, then Downs, then Addison. I'll take a shot on Moore in a revenge game. Then Downs, then Addison. Would I start Tyreek or Deontay Johnson? Deontay, and it's not close. There's no reason to trust the Miami Dolphins right now, man. If you have a viable option, and Deontay has been cooking these past 2 weeks. He has 27 targets the last 2 games since Andy Dalton has been entrenched as the starter. We ride that production. We ride that wave. I expect another 10-plus targets for him tomorrow. Tyreek is on the road against New England. He's going to see Christian Gonzalez, and the combination of Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley has submarined the Dolphins' offense to a point where you can't trust anybody. Deontay over Tyreek. That's where we're at. Deontay over Tyreek. Greg, I got your trade question. Full PPR, Zach Ertz or Parkinson? Neither. Pick up Strange I would pick up Strange for the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a really good matchup. Engram's not going to play. I've been a Zach Ertz guy over the past couple of weeks. The production has been less than it's been okay, but it hasn't been great. And Parkinson hasn't done anything the past couple of weeks either, even though the opportunity has been there. Can you pick up Strange? Roll the dice on him. If not, I guess Ertz. It's a bad matchup, but Jane Daniels is playing well, and he offers a security blanket for him. Ertz does. I would say Strange over those two. The Colts are getting killed by opposing tight ends. So, if we're in a desperation situation, I'll chase that matchup, and I'll play Strange for Jacksonville instead of Ertz or Parkinson. If neither are available, or if Strange isn't available, then, I've been suggesting Ertz. Maybe I'll go back to the well with him for one more week, but we're talking about low-end floor plays here. Would I make any changes? Starting Lamb, starting Deontay, you're starting Kraft if McBride sits, and you're starting Wicks. Yes. No changes. You have it right. That is the lineup that you should fire up. Kraft is a great replacement and plays in the late window along with McBride, so you will know the situation. That's an ideal spot to be in. You can swap to Kraft. You may want to do that even if McBride goes because he was downgraded. That's never a good sign. That's not the direction we want to see a player go in from an injury perspective. I guess if McBride plays, you have to fire him up, but Kraft offers an intriguing stream option this week. You may want to just go with him in general. He's not on the injury report the way that McBride has been added. But yes, you have it right. You have your squad right. No changes. No changes. Wicks over all those dudes on your bench in full PPR. 100%. Wicks over Higgins. Wicks over Ayuk. Yep. That's where we're at with Dontavian Wicks. Expectations are sky high. Travis Etienne or Terry McLaurin in full PPR. McLaurin's in a tough spot. Etienne is not, but is losing work to Tank Bigsby. Etienne is your floor play. If you're a favorite and you think you can play it safe and all that good stuff, Etienne offers a floor play. McLaurin is probably a little bit more boom bust in this matchup. It's a tougher spot on the road against Cleveland. Or no, are they the home team? They are the home team. Okay. My answer remains the same because it's still a tough matchup. Etienne is a floor play. If you think you need to be aggressive, then McLaurin. If you think you need points and you need to swing for the fences, then McLaurin. Etienne is a floor play. The Raiders or the Saints defense? Nah. Are the Commanders available? Like the Raiders defense, is Max Crosby even playing? He was on the injury report. He is expected to return. So that helps the Raiders. That helps the Raiders. But like they have to support a terrible offense right now. And that makes me a little nervous. Is Washington available? They're playing Deshaun Watson, who's not playing well. Like, Mahomes is not a viable quarterback to start in fantasy, but he's also not a viable quarterback to play a defense against. Because we still have to give him the respect as the best quarterback in the NFL. So I don't really want to play a defense against him, especially when he's playing at home. So I don't really want to play the Saints. I would pick up the Washington Commanders if they're available, assuming Denver and Seattle are not available, but I would play them over either of these two. If I have to play one, I guess I would play the Raiders because the Broncos offense is pretty lackluster, but they're supporting a bad offense right now that could easily, turn the ball over themselves and force the Raiders defense to work with some short fields through no fault of their own. That wouldn't surprise me. Like, pick up if the Broncos are probably taken, the Seahawks are probably taken. If not, then those are the streams that you want this week. And then I would go Washington over Vegas or New Orleans because at least they're playing Deshaun Watson. Do you trade a 2025 first for Adams as a win now team in Dynasty? Yeah, you can roll those dice. I would prefer if you know that it's going to be like a late pick, if it's going to be like a bottom 3 pick in the first round because it's your own pick, and you're willing to be patient on Adams returning this year in the form of a trade, and he's going to help you down the stretch to help win a championship. You're not going to be able to get away with trading 2 seconds. It's going to have to be a first. If it's a late first, I'm okay with it. If it's a late first, I'm okay with it. If it's a top 6 pick, then no. I would rather have the top 6 pick. But if it's going to be like the 10th, 11th, 12th, I don't know how many teams are in your Dynasty League, but if it's going to be a pick at the end of the round and you can wait on Devontae Adams because you have a win now team, you have enough good pieces to wait out whatever trade gets done for Adams, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that move. I'm good with that move. All right, making my way through. Again, everybody, appreciate y'all's patience. I know there are a lot of questions, but I want to give you my thoughts as best that I can. So hopefully I'm not weighing you guys down, but I do try to give you as much of a thought process as I can. Because sometimes this stuff isn't, so cut and dry. Flex 2, Kirk, Downs, Wicks. Damn. Wicks. And Kirk? Is that where I'm at? I mean, Wicks is everyone is hammering the table, pounding the table for Wicks as like the breakout star this week that is just waiting to happen. I will say Wicks and I will say Kirk. I will say Wicks and I will say Kirk. I'm so torn between Christian Kirk and Josh Downs because I think they're both really good options. But Kirk should continue to, corral a lot of targets with Evan Ingram still out. Wicks and Kirk. I want to play Downs, but not over those two guys. I think I got this question already. Wilson, Wicks, Achane, Olave. You're sitting Achane of those three or of those four. I think I got that question already. If you need my thoughts again, let me know. But it's just, I don't trust that Dolphins offense right now. Not in that matchup. Not against New England on the road. Dynasty full PPR. Oh man, you're 1-6. Is this a median league scoring? So you might be hurting a little bit. Do you trade B. John McBride, Ayuk, Justice Hill for Lamb and Marvin Harrison Jr.? This is a very loaded. We really got to get into the weeds on this one. And I'm not, I don't want to delay any longer for anybody who's been waiting. Being 1-7 obviously sucks. It puts you squarely as a seller. Kyler, Caleb, B. John, Justice Hill. Your wide receivers are definitely hurting a little bit. I don't want to trade. I don't really want to trade Trey McBride. The tight end landscape is so volatile, and he looks like one of the few good young options. I get wanting to add Marvin Harrison, but you already have a stack with Kyler and McBride. CD is obviously a top 3 wide receiver, not just this year, but in Dynasty in general. And those are for me, those guys help you in the future, but they don't help you this year with you already being behind the 8 ball. I'd rather wait. I think I would wait because Bijan's value is down right now. I would rather wait and see Bijan get his value back up before I trade him in Dynasty. I would hold for now, and I would revisit this in a week or after Bijan's next game. We need Bijan's value to come up. This is not a sell low, but you'd be trading a lot of pieces away for 2 guys who I really like, and Harrison is still a top 8 or 9 or top 7 or 8 dynasty wide receiver. But I mean, you're trading a lot of pieces, a lot of solid pieces for these 2 guys. And Bijan is in a sell low window at this point. I would wait. Let's get his value back up first. I would wait. Shaheed, Leggett, or Curtis Samuel in a full PPR. I like the Panthers rookie, but Shaheed has, other than a week 3 dud, Shaheed has been solid. I'll say Shaheed. He's coming through with big plays, and then last week he came through with volume, so he's proving that he can kind of do a little bit of both. Give me Shaheed of those 3 guys. Half PPR. half point per first down. Stroud or Kyler? Stroud. Kyler's on the road against San Francisco. I don't want to mess with that. Like, Kyler could have boosted all of our confidence in the world with a great game last week in a very beatable matchup, and he fell flat. Like, he didn't do anything against Washington. I don't, and so now I have no confidence in him on the road against San Francisco. I'll say Stroud. I'll say Stroud. And then Cooper or Worthy. Cooper, not close. Cooper, not close. Cooper has had some bad luck this year. He's a couple of holding penalties away from being a wide receiver 1 on the season. I'm sticking with Amari Cooper. I'm riding that wave, and it's a great matchup. Worthy is going to see Marshawn Lattimore. I don't like that as much. I don't like that as much. Pick 2. Pickens, Downs, Worthy, Wicks. Not Worthy. I'm out on Xavier Worthy this week for better or worse. I like I like Downs. I like Wicks. I want to play both of those guys. But Pickens is a dude that we've had high expectations on all year long. I think I play Pickens, and I'm going Wicks over Downs. I want to get both of those guys into my lineup, but if I have to choose only one, I'm choosing Wicks. And Pickens is a guy that we still have high expectations of. Good beatable matchup. Pickens and Wicks over Downs and Worthy. Yep, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. All right, moving right along. Would I trade Mahomes, Connor, and Jaden Reed for Jaden Daniels, Joe Mixon, and JMO? Huge upgrade going from Daniels to Mahomes. I'd slightly prefer having Connor to Mixon. I guess Mixon is coming back soon. And I'd way rather have Jaden Reed than Jamison Williams. I absolutely want to upgrade off of Patrick Mahomes and to Jaden Daniels. I do want to do that. Jaden Reed is a big upgrade from Jamison Williams, even though Jamo's been solid. He's coming through with some big plays. 3 of the first 4 weeks. Connor and Mixon, aging bell cows, but guys that you can still rely on when they are healthy. Mixon presumably is coming back soon. Connor is healthy now and has been solid. I want to upgrade to Jaden Daniels, but it's a big downgrade going from Reed to JMO. You have Tyreek for when Tua comes back. You have Mike Evans, which is good. You have Higgins, which is good. You have ETN. Connor for Mixon swap should be fine for when Mixon returns, which should be sooner than later. I have a little bit of pause with this trade as much as I want. I do want to upgrade to Jaden Daniels from Patrick Mahomes for sure. Jaden Reed to Jamison Williams feels like a slightly bigger downgrade, though. But I want Jaden Daniels. I'm sorry that I'm going so back and forth on this. It's just like it's decent on paper, but you have to pick your poison. Like how badly are you willing to upgrade at quarterback at the expense of downgrading at wide receiver? I will say, because you have Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans, and we can expect Tua to come back soon. That is the report. That is the latest information that we have received about Tua, which would obviously put Tyreek Hill's ceiling back as far as overall wide receiver 1. And you have Mike Evans and you have T. Higgins. I would. I'll say yes, because that's how badly I want to move off of Patrick Mahomes, and that you can upgrade to Jaden Daniels. Yeah, I'm willing to take the Jaden Reed to JMO downgrade in order to get Jaden Daniels and move off of Patrick Mahomes. Yes, yes, yes. I'm in on that trade. I'm in on that trade. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Obviously, Mixon's health is a key cog here, but it sounds like he's close to a return. I will say yes, because I want Jaden Daniels, and Mahomes is impossible to trust. Yes, I will say yes to that deal. Full PPR pick 2. Wandale, Jerome Ford, Smith and Jigba, Tank Dell. The first 2, definitively. Wandale's going to get 10 to 12 targets with no Malik Neighbors. Could be a tough matchup, but he's going to come through with volume, you would think. And Jerome Ford is playing well. He's playing well, and he continues to get decent volume in the Browns' backfield. And Nick Chubb is not making his return this week. Smith and Jigba, he remains behind Metcalf and Lockett, and the Seahawks may not have to throw the ball more than 20 times to win the game. I think volume could be an issue for the Seahawks receivers tomorrow. Not that you're not starting DK Metcalf. And Tank Dell, let's give him a week, given these names that you have. Wandale and Ford. Play Wandale, play Ford. Those are the guys I want of those 4 names. Addison or Wandale, or how many people are we starting in this question? I see there's a lot of questions still to go. I appreciate everybody's patience. I know that I work through these pretty methodically. I want to give you guys as much of my thoughts as it pertains to your specific question as I can. I'm sure that's gonna, I'm sure there are some people who would prefer that I do this a little quicker, but appreciate y'all's patience as I work through these. I'm trying to give you the best answer that I possibly can. So appreciate your patience. How many? If it's Wandale is number 1 here, and then James Conner, and then Trey Sermon, and then Jordan Addison for me. In full PPR, if it's half PPR, Conner and Wandale are a little bit more close. If it's full PPR, I say Wandale, then Conner, then Sermon, then Addison. Call me crazy. I'm not like super bullish on Trey Sermon tomorrow. I know he's going to have the opportunity with Jonathan Taylor out, but they're on the road in a division matchup. The head coach said that they would be, it'd be a running back by committee. I'm not feeling Sermon. I'll put him ahead of Addison because we're expecting some volume, but oh man, I feel like it's like first to 6 or 7. It's like 6 or 7 points for him is like a ceiling tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not super bullish on Sermon, even though the matchup looks good on paper. Wandale, Conner, Sermon, Addison in that order for me. Start 2 in full PPR. Hunt, Sermon, Kraft. This would be a situation, I guess, where I would start the running backs. Kraft is looking like a pretty good streaming option at tight end tomorrow, but I don't want to play 2 tight ends. I assume you maybe already have another tight end in a starting tight end spot. If this is a flex play, Kraft has some appeal, but just tight ends are so freaking volatile. If he's your only guy, then sure, start him. But if you're starting somebody else, play the running backs. At least they'll get some volume. As I just got done talking about how I don't trust Trey Sermon tomorrow, I will play Trey Sermon if my alternative is a streaming option at tight end, just because I do think Sermon will get some volume. But play the running backs. I'll play the running backs. I got the trade question about Mahomes. Sorry for the delay. But hopefully you were able to catch it. Hopefully that helped. Yeah, over Addison. Wandale. Yeah, Addison's fourth for me from that group of Wandale, Connor, Sermon, Addison. I know he had a good game last week, but in London against the Jets, slightly tougher spot. Okay, yeah, I got the questions about having to move, drop certain guys. Chuba or Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones is a top flight option right now. Chuba looks good as well. It's a shame if you can't play both of these guys, but even in a bad matchup by the numbers, or a less than ideal matchup by the numbers, the Jets' run defense is not as strong as it was supposed to be coming into the year. Aaron Jones, if you can only play one, Aaron Jones over Chuba Hubbard. Jones is still doing it. He's still doing it in a big way. I'll take Aaron Jones, and the Vikings offense is great right now. I'll take Aaron Jones. Chuba's solid. I want to play both, but if I can only play one, I'm playing Aaron Jones. I'm rocking with that. I'm rocking with that dude who's all he's been doing it. All he's been doing is delivering for his entire career when healthy. I got this question. I'll take Deontay Johnson over Chris Olave and T. Higgins. It's not a great matchup, but I will chase the I will chase the volume and the production from the past 2 weeks. He has the worst matchup of these three guys, but he's producing. He's putting up big numbers. You would think he gets another 10 plus opportunities tomorrow. I got the Jacobs or Wicks question. I know some people are repeating some questions. I'm sorry that it took a little bit to get to you, but I'll take Jacobs over Wicks. Appreciate y'all's patience. Fields or Love? We're going Fields definitively. We're going Fields definitively. Jordan Love is, a high-end play. Fields has weak winning upside with his legs, and they're playing the run funnel Dallas Cowboys. And Jaylen Warren and Cordero Patterson are out, so you would think some more designed runs are coming Justin Fields' way. Give me Fields. Weak winning upside any given week with his legs, and it's a great matchup. And I feel perfectly fine playing the Vikings defense because they look like a top 3 defense in the NFL. If that's your best option, Denver got picked up, Seattle got picked up, then yeah, play the Vikings. Pittsburgh's not available. Baltimore's not available. Not a great spot for Baltimore on the road against Cincinnati, but they're good enough that you believe in them. Yeah. You can play the Vikings for sure. You can play the Vikings defense for sure. Fields definitively over Love. The only guys I'm playing over Justin Fields this week at quarterback are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Jaden Daniels. That's it. Yep. So to that point, I see a question. Fields or Lamar? Lamar is on the short list of players that I am playing over Justin Fields. Fields is my QB4 on the week, but Lamar is my QB3. It's like Allen, even though Allen's had some down weeks, but we've seen Allen is still QB1 until further notice from a fantasy perspective. Jaden Daniels is QB2, even in a tougher matchup. Lamar is QB3. You could flip-flop those guys because Lamar's got an easier matchup against Cincinnati. And then Fields is 4. So if you have both, Lamar is on my short list of players that I am playing over Justin Fields. It's not a long list, but Lamar is on it. Start Lamar. Start Lamar. Addison or Wandale? Wandale. And you can, you can have that concern. The Seahawks are going to key on Wandale Robinson because the Giants have nobody left. Malik Neighbors is out. Devin Singletary's doubtful to play. We're down to like a bag of chips on offense for the New York Giants. Wandale should be able to command 10 to 12 targets. Even if he turns it into 7 catches for 60 yards, like, we'll take that PPR volume. We'll take that volume. He's 5th in the NFL in targets. I know Malik Neighbors has a lot to do with that as far as him having open opportunities, but he should be able to command a ton of targets tomorrow and just come through with some decent volume. Start 2. Ayuk, Higgins, Kirk, Wandale. Not Ayuk. We need to see more from Ayuk before we fire him up. And I don't know the scoring. I think I'm putting Wandale and Kirk in my starting lineup. If it's full PPR, Wandale and Kirk. Higgins has a little bit more of an argument if it's half PPR. Just because we expect Kirk and Wandale to come through on some PPR volume. But even half PPR, I think I would go Kirk and Wandale here and just bank on expected volume. Yep. Bank on the volume. Give me Wandale. Give me Kirk. Christian Kirk remains heavily viable with no Evan Ingram. Connor or Sermon, even in a bad matchup, I'm going with the better player. I'll take James Conner. I feel like I am like the most out on Tracer. I see the rankings. I see the weekly flex rankings for this week, and Trey Sermon's pretty high up there. I'm not chasing it. If I have a viable option, I know Connor's in a bad matchup. I know against San Francisco, it feels dicey. It feels gross. But Trey Sermon is not anywhere close to James Conner's talent level. It's a division game on the road. I think it's not as good. It's not as good a matchup on paper as it looks. Jacksonville's given up decent production to opposing running backs, but not stellar production to opposing running backs. Only the top-end stars have come through in specific situations, and they're actually a top 10 team as far as rushing yards allowed per game, the Jaguars are. Sermon doesn't catch the ball, and the head coach said that would be a by-committee approach to replace Jonathan Taylor. I'm not in on Trey Sermon this week. You may not have a better option, but even in a bad matchup, James Conner's a better option. I'm taking Conner. I don't trust Trey Sermon, man. I'm telling you, I'm not trusting him. If he delivers, I'll eat my words, but I don't believe in Trey Sermon this week. It just because Taylor's out. I'm not feeling it. Connor, even in a bad matchup. Full PPR, start 1, cut 1. Sermon, Gibson, Chase Brown, Mostert, Emmanuel Wilson, Braylon Allen. Start. Of course, I just got done talking about how I don't like Trey Sermon. I guess I like him then over any of these other names. Of this group, I'll say Trey Sermon is the start. And I'll say for now, I think Mostert should be able to fly under the radar on the waiver wire because of how bad the Dolphins offense is and because he hasn't played. I would cut Mostert. I would say of these names, you have the best chance of getting him back if you want him. I would cut Mostert. The Dolphins offense is useless right now. Week 5, New England. Week 6, bye week. Week 7, Tua is still not going to play, so you don't trust guys like Raheem Mostert. You could get him back in a couple of weeks, I would think, if you want him, or if space opens up. I would drop Mostert, and I would play Trey Sermon. I'm not crazy about Sermon, but compared to these names, I think Sermon has the best chance at a large opportunity of this group. So I'll say Sermon. I don't have a ton of confidence in him, though. I really don't. Start Kittle or Kraft. They both play in the afternoon window. If George Kittle's active, you have to play George Kittle. If he's inactive, you play Tucker Kraft. I think this is pretty straightforward. I know Kittle's on the injury report, but it's George Kittle. Tucker Kraft's not on the injury report, so you're feeling a little bit better about him just from an availability perspective. Start Kittle if he plays. If he's ruled out, they play at the same time. You'll have inactives at the same time. If Kittle's out, you'll know you can fire up Kraft. But play Kittle if Kittle plays. If Kittle starts for the Niners, he's in your starting lineup as well. We have to. He's that type of dude where you just have to roll the dice on and hope for the best. Yeah, play Kittle. If he's in, play Kittle. If he's out, play Kraft. Do you flex Cooper, Pickens, or Wicks? You can only start one of these dudes. Wicks is the breakout star of the week, but I like both Cooper and Pickens more than I like Wicks. I guess I'll play Pickens. There's nothing scary about the matchup. Cooper's in a great matchup too. But Pickens has actually, Cooper has had some bad luck, but Pickens has actually had been, a little bit more consistent. I'll say Pickens. It's close, but I'll say Pickens. I like all three of those guys. I wish you could start all three of them. But I'll take Pickens of the group. I want to play Cooper and Wicks as well. But if there's only room for one, I'll say Pickens. Trade Ramondre for Justice Hill. I'm not quite there yet. I like Justice Hill, but I liked Ramondre coming into the season as well. I guess it's possible. He's fumbled the ball 4 times. I don't think Ramondre's season is completely cooked yet. Justice Hill, obviously the vibes are up, but as long as Derrick Henry is in the lineup for the Baltimore Ravens, Justice Hill is definitively behind Derrick Henry. Ramondre still has a chance to get his job back, especially because the Patriots just signed him to a lot of money this past offseason. They now have like an investment commitment to him. They have to play him. So maybe the fact that he's coming off the bench, he's not going to start, maybe that's the kick in the ass, the wake-up call that Ramondre needs. I like Justice Hill. I'm not there yet with trading Ramondre to acquire Justice Hill straight up. I'm not there yet. Justice Hill's been solid in 2 of the 4 games this year, but that's a sell low on Ramondre, and I'm just not interested in doing that. If you're the one acquiring Ramondre, then sure, yes, go for it. But if you're sending Ramondre, I'm not crazy about that. And I see the I will pin it there. I still see some folks in here. Look, if you guys, first of all, thank you for taking the time to come in and hang out tonight. I know that everybody's got busy schedules and y'all could be doing anything else. If you choose to spend some time with me, trust me, I appreciate that. It's not lost on me. And y'all deserve the answers that you come in looking and expecting. That's what I intend to give you guys. If you think I'm taking too long, I apologize. I'm trying to give you some questions are not, and a lot of questions are not cut and dry. If others feel like I'm taking too long, please feel free to speak up. But I'm trying to give you the most thought out, authentic answer that I can give you. And that's pretty much all it comes down to. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for hanging out. If I took too long and you moved on to another live stream, understood. I'm not for everybody. I understand that. That's okay. But if you caught my thoughts, I did see your question. It was a trade question about the Mahomes for Daniels plus other pieces swap. I gave my thoughts on it. Hopefully you caught it. If you didn't, apologies. I'm just, I know that I can get, I get calculated with my question or with my answers. Hopefully you think enough to stick around and hang out to get to your question. If not, understood. I get it. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that. If you feel the same, let me know. But I do try to give everybody like more than just a couple word answers. These are not always easy questions to answer. You have to, a lot of these require some extra thought. But appreciate everybody coming in and hanging out tonight. Thank you for thinking enough to spend some of your Saturday with me. Would I play Wandale and Shaheed and Wicks over Ayuk? Yes. I think I got this question, but yeah, like I'm out on Ayuk right now until further notice. He needs to do more. He needs to do more. I'm playing Wandale. I'm playing Shaheed. I'm playing Wicks over Ayuk. 100%. Overall, yes. Yep. I'm playing Wandale. I'm playing Shaheed. I'm playing Wicks over Ayuk. Ayuk has done nothing so far this year, and he's had opportunities. Week 3, he was the last man standing. Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey were all out. Jawan Jennings was the guy who blew up. Week 4, Debo returned. Kittle returned. Oh, maybe this will help Ayuk. The defense can't key on him. He had 2 catches. So it's like, come on, dude. Like, yeah. No, I'll take the upside of these other guys over him for sure. Wandale, Shaheed, Wicks, 100%. Yes. Ayuk's on the bench if I have names like that. Achane or Dontavian Wicks in full PPR. Yeah, Dontavian Wicks. I do not trust the Miami Dolphins offense right now. We are not getting anything from them, and now they're on the road against New England. Division matchup. I'm not, it's not the New England defenses of old with Tom Brady, but it's still a pretty good unit. They can be had through the air. They're a little bit tougher to get on the ground, but Tyler Huntley and Skylar Thompson have submarined this offense. Wicks, and in full PPR, Wicks is the breakout candidate that everybody's, pinning as the guy to blow up this week. Ride the train. Dobbs is out. Watson is out. It's a great matchup against the Rams. Wicks over Achane. Yes. I get the thought process of starting your studs, but that only goes so far. This Miami Dolphins offense can't be trusted right now. Achane had 7 half PPR points week 3 and 4.5 half PPR points last week. We're lowering expectations in a big way with this Dolphins offense. Don't trust it. I don't trust it. I got the dynasty trade question. I would, if I know it's a late pick in the 2025 first round for Davante Adams as a contender, yes, I would make the trade. If it's a top 6 pick, then no, I'm not as excited about it. But if you know it's going to be a late pick because it's your own pick and you're a contender and you have a good record and you'll be bottom 3 in the round at worst, if not the outright champ, like, yes, trade. I'm okay with a late first for Davante Adams. If it's a top 6 pick, I'm not as excited about that move. Start 1, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, and Trey Tucker in full PPR. None of these guys are super enticing. I don't trust the Bears offense right now. So it's hard to fire up Keenan Allen. Lockett should be fine at home as a flex play. And then Trey Tucker is also on the flex radar, with Myers probably getting shadowed by Patrick Surtain. Lockett is a floor play. And I apologize, I didn't pin this. Lockett's a floor play. Trey Tucker is maybe a little bit more all or nothing. So if you think you need to be aggressive, then maybe play Trey Tucker. Lockett should be fine as a floor play, but again, volume could be an issue for the Seahawks pass catchers. They may not need to do that much for the Seahawks to beat the Giants tomorrow. They're so undermanned on offense. Lockett's a floor play. You can get like 5 for 60 from him. Tucker is an upside play, and I'm sitting Keenan Allen. I don't trust the Bears offense, and we haven't seen all that much from Keenan Allen recently. He's missed time, but also he returned last week. First game back, so cut him some slack, but he didn't do that much. And what if Rome Odunze continues to run ahead of him? It's possible. Convince you to cancel this trade. All right, let's see. A.J. Brown for Jaden Reed. You would be giving up A.J. Brown and acquiring Jaden Reed? And you have extra incentive to do this because you have Jordan Love, so you would be stacking it up. Can you sell A.J. Brown on his name recognition, and can you get an extra piece back in the trade? I'm talking like a depth running back. You're the trade partner, the person you're doing the trade with. Could you get Jaden Reed and their RB3 for A.J. Brown and your RB4? Could you do a slight uptick at running back to kind of make it look like it's evened out on paper? Because A.J. Brown, when healthy, is a top 6 or 7 wide receiver in the league. And while Jaden Reed is awesome, I don't know that we can necessarily put him in that category yet. I think you should be able to trade A.J. Brown on name recognition and get Jaden Reed back, plus maybe a running back swap that is in your favor. If you can do that, then I'm in. If you can do that, I'm in. I get the idea. I love stacking it up. I'm a big proponent of stacks. Love the Jaden Reed. Looks like it could be a lethal play for the rest of the season. But A.J. Brown, when healthy, and we're expecting him back week 6, is that dude. You should be able to sell him on name recognition and maybe do a 2-for-2 trade where you get Jaden Reed and say an RB3 for A.J. Brown and your RB4 or 5. Assuming that they are a downgrade from your trade partner's RB3. If you can upgrade at running back in this trade, make it a 2-for-2, and sell AJ on name recognition, even though he hasn't played for a couple of weeks, I would be in on it. If it's 1-for-1 straight up, I'm not as bullish. See if you can expand that trade to get an RB3 for the trade partner's RB5 or RB4 or 5. That's what I would try to do. If you can make it happen, I'm in. If you can make that happen, I'm in. If you can't, if your trade partner's like, no, 1-for-1 or nothing, I'm not as enthused about it. Then I would say that then it becomes go with your gut. Like, go with your gut. If you in your heart of hearts are like, I don't care, I want Jaden Reed, I have Jordan Love, I'd rather have Reed than A.J. Brown, I'm not going to tell you how to completely run your team, but I would not be as crazy about it. If you can expand that to include a running back swap in your favor, which I think you can get based on the name recognition of A.J. Brown, then I'm in. And then just thoughts on Jaden Reed this week. I mean, he's a wide receiver 1 in this matchup against the Rams. He's in your starting lineup. Yeah, he's a wide receiver 1 this week. I mean, yeah, you want him in your starting lineup. I just got done talking about it, but like, obviously a healthy A.J. Brown, you probably are going to rank him over Jaden Reed each week. But like this week, with the bye weeks and the injuries and all that stuff, Jaden Reed is a wide receiver 1 against the Rams. I think he's a slam dunk in your starting lineup. And then who are we starting between Hunt, Wandale, and Brian Thomas Jr.? Hunt if it's standard scoring, and I'll take Wandale in half and full PPR. I think Wandale's going to come through on some volume. I do. I think he's going to come through on some volume. Wandale in full PPR, Wandale in half PPR. And I don't want to discredit Brian Thomas Jr. because Brian Thomas is an emerging, really good player. Full PPR, I want Wandale. Half PPR, there's a little bit more of an argument for Brian Thomas. But I do think Wandale's going to come through on some solid volume. Standard, then you could go Hunt. If it's standard scoring, then you can go with the running back. You can go with Hunt. Again, I understand the thoughts of starting your studs. Achane is a stud, but this offense is trash right now. Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley have wrecked this Dolphins offense to the point where I don't even trust Tyreek Hill, let alone Jalen Waddle and Devon Achane. Yep. Komet or Njoku if he plays. What is and Njoku's on the injury report as questionable, right? And I am coming up to the end of the chat. Again, I've said it a few times. I'll say it again. I appreciate everybody's patience as I work through these questions. If anybody has any more thoughts or questions, I can take them here. We'll start wrapping this up as I am at the end of the chat, but thank you everybody for your patience. I know I took a while. I'm sure I frustrated some folks who had to wait a while. Again, I do have a system where you can get priority answers to your questions. It is in the form of either becoming a member or sending a super. So I know I'd be asking a little bit extra of you. If you're not comfortable doing that, I totally understand. That's totally fine. But then in that case, I do ask for some patience as I work through the questions because I want to give you guys as much context from where I'm sitting as I can. So thank you for holding on and waiting it out if you're still in here. And obviously, best of luck this weekend. We all want the dubs. I want to get everybody a win in here. That's the goal. Komet or Njoku. Njoku's tough to trust right now. He's questionable but hopes to play. It's a good matchup against Washington. Deshaun Watson's not playing well, but I guess Njoku is a reliable guy if he's able to go. Cole Kmet is difficult to trust. He's got a little bit of upside given the matchup, but he's had one huge game and 3 meh games. You're hoping for pretty much like 3 catches for 30 yards from Cole Kmet. If Njoku's healthy and Kmet is your best alternative, I would just roll the dice on Njoku and hope for the best. I know he's missed time recently with the injury, but he's a superior talent to Cole Kmet. The tight end landscape is so gross. Just play the guy that you would have ranked ahead of if you have a guy that you would rank ahead of another player regularly each week, and Njoku is that versus Cole Kmet. Even coming back from a couple weeks of an absence, I'll play Njoku if he plays. And then if he's out, you can just obviously pivot to Kmet. But if Njoku plays, play Njoku. We're hoping for 5 fantasy points. We're hoping for 5 half PPR points, maybe 7 or 8 full PPR points. Njoku if he plays. Kmet if he doesn't. We are at the end of the chat. I do not think I missed any questions. I apologize if I did, but I don't think I did. If you have any other thoughts, if I missed anything, if you think I maybe missed your question, maybe you dropped out of the stream and missed my thoughts. Now's the time. Shout it out. Let me know if there's anything I missed or if anything that you have brewing as far as final thoughts before I shut this down for the evening. There will not be a Sunday stream tomorrow because there is a London game. So we're going to free that spot up. You guys would probably watch that game as opposed to listen to me talk. If you have any more last-minute thoughts that you want to run by me tomorrow, I will be available in my Discord. Second link in the description of this live stream and all videos on the stream or on the channel. I am not always available in the Discord, but for, start, sit, help ahead of the Sunday slate with an international game going on, I will be available. So if you think of anything tomorrow, or if you just want to run anything by me tomorrow as a last minute, you can hit me in the Discord there. You can also crowdsource the community over there as well. But no start-sit stream tomorrow. I typically do run start-sit streams on Sundays, but with the international games, we'll free that spot up. What is this? You need Braylon Allen or Alexander Madison. You would have to drop. Is this you would have to drop Allen to? Is this you would have to drop Allen to pick up Madison? Which I don't really want to do. I don't want to. I guess I'd rather play Alexander Madison, but I don't want to drop Braylon Allen for a 1-week rental. There's not any other random wide receiver that you could drop. Like, I would I would rather play Alexander Madison this week than Braylon Allen, but I do not want to drop Braylon Allen. I do not want to drop Braylon Allen. I would prefer to play Madison, but not at the expense of dropping Braylon Allen. There's not anybody else that you can drop. That would be my question. I would want to let me just know your whole roster. Obviously, there are some names that are untouchables, but like, yeah, I don't want to drop. I want to start Madison over Braylon Allen, but I don't want to drop Braylon Allen to get Alexander Madison for just this week, if that makes sense. I'm still here. If you have any questions, drop them in now while I'm still here. But I am at the end of the chat, so I'll give it a few minutes. To let you guys ask some questions. Again, if you miss me, if you miss my an opportunity to ask a question while I'm in here, you can always drop a comment on this stream in the form of a question in the form of a comment, and I can respond to it between now and the start of the Sunday slate. You can get a hold of me that way as well. So I'm still here. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in. If you miss me, you can ask a question in the form of a comment on this stream, or you could join my Discord. Second link in the description of this live stream and all the videos and streams on the channel. I will be available tomorrow during the international game, Vikings-Jets, leading up to the Sunday slate. Yeah, so for the injured running back question, I would want to know who your whole lineup is or who your whole roster is. Oh man. If it's a one quarterback lead, Bullseye, I see your question. I will get to it, but I'm just going to wrap up my thoughts on this question. I know it's the window is tight right now because it's Saturday evening and the games start tomorrow. Trade Kyler if you can to a quarterback needy team. If this is a one quarterback league, you only need one quarterback. Rock with Lamar. Try to trade Kyler. Maybe do Kyler and Xavier Worthy for a running back. Find somebody who needs a quarterback in your league. Offer Kyler and dangle Xavier Worthy as well as like a sell high trade bait. Try to pick up another running back because your wide receivers are actually you could grab a wide receiver as well, and you have Marvin Harrison, so I get it. You probably don't want to break up that stack, but you don't need two quarterbacks in a one quarterback league. Kyler would be able to fetch you something. I would do a 2-for-1 trade if you can. Try to get an upgrade at wide receiver. Maybe do Kyler and Xavier Worthy for an upgrade at wide receiver. Free up that roster spot. That way you can add Alexander Madison without dropping anybody. That's what I would be trying to do. Check around your league. See who needs a quarterback. Maybe see maybe is there a Chiefs fan in your league or whoever has Mahomes? Do they want Xavier Worthy? You could sell high on him. You could sell high on Worthy. You can and add Kyler Murray in that trade because you have Lamar. You only need one quarterback in one quarterback formats. Try to do a 2-for-1. Get another wide receiver or get some running back help. Free up that roster spot. That will allow you to add Alexander Madison without dropping Braylon Allen. That would be my suggestion. If you cannot make something happen, I would eat it and I would play Braylon Allen, I guess, if you had to, because you can't play Brooks. Irving already went. Mixon's out. McCaffrey's out. I don't want to drop Braylon Allen. You have Pittman as well. I would dangle Kyler Murray to a quarterback needy team in your league. I would package Xavier Worthy in a sell high move. Try to get an upgrade at either running back or wide receiver. Again, depending on who. If there's a quarterback needy team in your league, there probably is. Offer Kyler, offer Xavier Worthy in a sell high move. Try to get a single player back in return that is an upgrade either at wide receiver or running back. Free up that roster spot, and that's how you add Alexander Madison without dropping Braylon Allen. If you can't make it happen, I would eat it. I would not want to drop Braylon Allen. If you can't make it happen, I would eat it. Play Braylon Allen and hope for the best. But try to be aggressive over these next 12, 15 hours making a trade to get to free up a roster spot. Do a 2-for-1. Kyler and Xavier Worthy. That's what I would do. Look for a running back or a wide receiver upgrade. Pick 2 running backs. Chase Brown, Alexander Madison, Antonio Gibson, Trey Sermon, Najee Harris. Najee is a slam dunk. Najee is a slam dunk. No Jalen Warren, no Cordero Patterson. The Cowboys are getting killed on the ground. Najee Harris is a slam dunk. My other option here probably is between Sermon and Madison, and I don't really love either. I will say Sermon. I guess he's going to come through with some volume, and there's nothing. Jacksonville is a decent matchup. They're not a terrible matchup. They're not a great matchup. They're a decent matchup. I expect the Colts to go to an RB by committee tomorrow, so I'm not expecting the world from Trey Sermon, but he should be first up for lead back duties. He should get the first crack at those lead opportunities. So I'll take Sermon. Gibson should start, but the Patriots offense stinks, and I don't know how long that's going to last before Ramondre gets mixed in. Chase Brown is in a brutal matchup. Madison has a good opportunity ahead of him. Zamir White is out, but he's in a brutal matchup as well. The Denver Broncos are playing excellent defense right now. Give me Harris and give me Sermon. Give me Sermon. I am not crazy about Sermon. Gibson is interesting, but I don't know what it means that he's going to start, but Ramondre will play. Does he start the first series, but then Ramondre gets in there and is like more the regular back throughout the game? I don't know. If it's full PPR, you could go Gibson. If it's half PPR or standard scoring, I would go Sermon. Full PPR, Gibson is fine. Half PPR or standard scoring, I'll say Sermon. And then Najee definitively against the run funnel Cowboys. Any concerns about Brian Robinson? It sucks that he wasn't able to practice that much this week, but he's been awesome. You're firing him up. He's expected to play. He's a tough player. We rock with Brian Robinson. It's a bad matchup against Cleveland, but they are at home and they are playing well. The Commanders' offense is anyway. Brian Robinson's expected to play, so Brian Robinson is in my starting lineup. As far as Trey McBride, is Tucker Kraft out there? He might not be. He's probably been scooped, but if he's available, you could go with him. You could go with Jawan Johnson on Monday night. Taysom Hill is not going to play for the New Orleans Saints, so you could take a shot on him. I assume Pat Freiermuth is rostered. He's in the Sunday night game. You probably can't go with him. I don't really want to play Colby Parkinson either. You could take a shot on Elijah Higgins, I guess. He's the direct benefactor of McBride not playing. Those would be the options. If you can't go with McBride, then if Tucker Kraft is out there, you could go with him. Jawan Johnson on Monday night, you could go with him with Taysom Hill being out for New Orleans. Those are the desperation pivots, considering McBride plays in the late window. But you have to hold out for him. Coleman over Sutton? No. Sutton came to life last week, and there's nothing scary about the matchup against the Raiders. I believe they're at home. Denver's at home. Nothing scary about that matchup. Coleman's a little bit more up and down. He could fire any given week catching passes from Josh Allen, but he's up and down. 3 catches, 51 yards last week. Decent. Sutton is the team's wide receiver 1, though. He's going to get held back by Bo Nix, but at least Bo Nix started to find him a little bit last week. I would play Sutton. Nothing scary about the matchup. All right. And you guys are welcome. Thanks for popping in really quickly. Again, I am at the end of the chat, so I see these last few questions. I am gonna get to these, but then I'm gonna have to wrap this up. But appreciate everybody's patience and coming in today. Appreciate 50 likes on the channel that help or on the stream. That helps me for algorithm purposes. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for thinking enough to just give me a like. That's all I ask. That helps me out. So that is a nice little number to see. Appreciate that. Love or Fields? So 4-point touchdowns, but there's some bonuses for passing yardage. Fields is my QB4 this week. Jordan Love's in a great spot, and he should probably deliver. Fields is in, I think, a better spot. The Cowboys are getting gashed on the ground. Jalen Warren is out. Cordero Patterson is out for the Steelers. I expect more designed runs for Justin Fields. He has week winning upside with his legs every single week. Love is a top 8 option, but for this week, I think Fields is a top 4 option. The only guys I'm starting over Justin Fields this week are Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson. That's it. Justin Fields, I'm playing as my QB4. Fields over Love. Wandale or Trey Sermon in half PPR? Yeah, I mean, I might get burned for this one, but I don't. Sermon is the best of a bad group of running back options if you're down to some desperation plays. I think Wandale is going to come through on some volume tomorrow. I know Seattle can key on him, but 12 targets is 12 targets, man. Like, even in half PPR, I think Wandale has some standalone value. He's going to get all the opportunities he can handle. My issue with Sermon is not only that I just don't know if he's that good, but head coach Shane Steichen said they would go with a committee approach this week to replace Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if we can expect Sermon to soak up all the backfield work. Tyler Goodson's going to get involved. Wandale over Sermon. That's where I'm at. A lot of people like Trey Sermon this week. I like him if you're between him and some other, Madison and like Antonio Gibson. Like, the Bengals backs are in a tough spot against Baltimore. Okay, fine. I'll try Sermon over those guys, but that's it. I'm not feeling Sermon in a big way, the way that I see other people ranking him this week. If I'm wrong, I'll eat my words on Tuesday's stream. But I'm willing to roll those dice. You need 2 in the flex. Sutton, Justice Hill, Jordan Whittington. I would go Sutton. Yeah, and I'm going. I saw the Love and Fields. I'm going Fields over Love. I'm banking on the week winning. He has week winning upside with his legs every single week. I'm going with Fields over Love. Love's a good option. I think Fields is a better option. If it was 6-point passing touchdowns, maybe I would say Love. But because you have 4-point passing touchdowns, I'll say Fields. Give me that week winning rushing upside that he presents in this beautiful matchup against Dallas. I will say Sutton. Again, he's starting to get his targets. Nick's got him involved last week, so maybe that stays rolling in a not scary matchup against the Raiders. And then you're between, Sutton is 1, and then you're between Hill and Whittington. Whittington, is this full PPR? Full PPR. I'll take the wide receivers. I'll take Whittington. He played 97% of the snaps last week. When the Rams find a wide receiver that they want to play, they play the whole game. That is a Sean McVay special. When they find a wide receiver that they want to commit to, he plays the whole game. Whittington played 97% of the snaps last week. They are moving away from Demarcus Robinson and Tyler Johnson. They are going with Jordan Whittington and Tutu Atwell if last week was any indication. In full PPR, I'll take Whittington over Justice Hill. And I like Justice Hill. I like Justice Hill a lot. His usage is up and down, though. It's inconsistent. This matchup looks like it could be a Justice Hill week, but it's volatile. We know Whittington's going to be on the field for the LA Rams. Sutton and Whittington in full PPR. That's where I'm going. Sutton and Winnington. Yeah, Fant is not great. Fant is a desperation stream if you have Trey McBride or George Kittle and it's bottom of the barrel backup options at tight end, but he is bottom of the barrel. I would take Juwan Johnson. Tucker Kraft is probably rostered at this point. He's probably been scooped up. I would take Juwan Johnson over somebody like Noah Fant with Taysom Hill out for New Orleans on Monday night. Murray or Lawrence at quarterback. My head says Lawrence. My heart says Murray. Which I know is not super helpful. I want to believe in Kyler Murray, but it's a brutal matchup, and he was terrible against in a very beatable matchup last week. But he can run. I will say Kyler. I will say Kyler. Trevor Lawrence has been terrible this year. Kyler hasn't been good outside of 1 or 2 weeks either, but at least he runs at a higher level, at a stronger level than Trevor Lawrence. The matchup isn't great by the numbers. And he might be without Trey McBride. Lawrence is going to be without Evan Ingram, but that's not as big of a loss as Trey McBride would be for Kyler. I will say Murray. If we get negative news on Trey McBride before the 1 p.m. kickoffs because Lawrence plays at 1 and Kyler plays in the 4:05 window Eastern time, if we get bad news on McBride, then I guess Lawrence. But if there remains optimism that McBride plays going into the 1 p.m. kickoffs, then I'll say Kyler. Rock with Kyler. Tough. Neither are ideal this week, but I guess I slightly lean Kyler because of his legs, even though I didn't use him last week. Let's see if he course corrects this week. Thanks for subbing. Debo, Pickens, Brian Thomas. Do I bench any for Wicks? Brian Thomas. I don't want to sit Brian Thomas. And you said you're not benching Brian Thomas. Well, you can't take Debo out and you can't take Pickens out. Brian Thomas would be the guy that I take out, especially because you have Love, so you can build that stack. I understand not wanting to sit Brian Thomas. He is a damn good player. But since you have Love, I am more inclined to get Wicks into my lineup. I can't do it in place of Debo, and I can't do it in place of George Pickens. I could conceivably do it for Brian Thomas. I like Brian Thomas. I like him a lot. Since you have Love, I would play Wicks over Brian Thomas. If you don't want to take Brian Thomas out of your lineup, that is your decision. This is your team. That is your call. Totally understood. Totally respect what you want to do with your team. I would play Wicks since you have Love and build the stack. But you're playing Debo definitively. You're playing George Pickens definitively. Brian Thomas has been good. Where's he at? I was looking him up earlier. Last week, 6 for 86 and a touchdown. The week before, 5 for 48. Week 2, 2 for 94, which is wild. And then 4 for 47 and a touchdown week 1. Like, he has been there. Brian Thomas has delivered at the end of the day, especially relative to expectations through the first month of his career. So there's plenty of reason to have optimism for Brian Thomas. I understand. I get it. I don't want to take Brian Thomas out of my lineup either. I might take him out for Dontavian Wicks, though, especially if I have Jordan Love. Both are in great matchups. The Colts are getting cooked through the air. The Rams are getting cooked through the air. Both are good matchups. I would lean Wicks. I understand if you don't want to go that way, but I would lean Wicks, and you got to play Debo and Pickens. Best of luck. Hopefully we can get you to 2 and 3 on the season after this week. Let's see. Where am I at? You're starting Hunt over Rico. That's fine. I kind of sneaky like Rico, but it's a brutal matchup against Pittsburgh, so it's fine to play Kareem Hunt. That's fine. That's totally fine. And if you're looking for a desperation tight end, the Colts are getting cooked recently by opposing tight ends. You could try Brenton Strange. Ingram's not going to play again, but if you want to rock with somebody like Cole Kmet, that's fine. I just don't trust the Bears offense. I guess I don't trust the Jags offense either. Kmet's had one good week, two not good weeks, and one like 0 week, essentially. I think he caught like one ball for 4 or 5 yards. I think that was week 1. So Kmet remains a desperation play, but a lot of tight ends are desperation plays. This is tough. Start Waddle or Adunze. I don't want to start either one of them. Like Waddle's last few times, like 4 for 36 last week, 4 for 26 the week before, 5 for 44 the week before that. It's been so bad. It's been so bad. At least Adunze has his quarterback, I guess. He had 1 catch for 10 yards in a great matchup last week. That is not going to get it done. He blew up against the Colts, but other than that, Adunze has been quiet. Week 1, 1 for 11. Week 2, 2 for 33. Week 3, 6 for 112 and a touchdown. Massive. Week 4, 1 for 10, and Keenan Allen is back. I guess Waddle, man. I guess Waddle. I don't have a ton of confidence in that because, again, the Miami quarterbacks are killing that offense, are killing them. But I'll take Waddle. I guess 4 catches for 40 yards is better than 2 catches for 20 yards. Adunze could blow up. 1 really good game in 4 games. The other 4 games were completely unusable. Waddle is a low-end floor. He's a wide receiver 4 right now with no upside, but a usable floor if you're desperate. Adunze has no floor, maybe a ceiling. But with Keenan Allen back, it's hard to trust him. I'll say, and Waddle's on the road. Adunze's at home. I hate this situation. I'll take Waddle, I guess. I don't love it. Jaden Daniels over Jordan Love, definitively. Again, Jaden Daniels is a top 3 quarterback every week until further notice, even in bad matchups. We got to ride the wave. Jordan Love is a top 7 or 8 play. Daniels is a top 2 or 3 play. Love is awesome. For fantasy right now, we got to rock with Jaden Daniels. He's QB3 this week. If you're a little bit concerned about the Cleveland defense, that's fine. But he's QB3 this week. Daniels, definitively. I like Jordan Love, but you gotta rock with Jaden Daniels. I missed this. Thoughts on Addison or Wandale in full PPR? Give me Wandale. I will take the 10 or 12 targets that he should get with no Malik Neighbors. It could be gross. Seattle could key on him. But 10 or 12 targets is 10 or 12 targets. In full PPR, he should be able to come through with a decent play. Without Neighbors there, it might be gross. Maybe don't watch the game. But I think the numbers will be okay at the end of the day. Wandale over Addison. Addison was solid last week. This is a little bit tougher matchup, and I'm a little less crazy about guys in the London game. Give me Wandale. And I got the Daniels or Love question. You got to go Jaden Daniels. Yeah, Rico could be a little bit more solid with no Brandon Cooks. This is true. Trade Ramondre to acquire Rashad White and Anthony Richardson in a vacuum. Yes, I'm in on that. Ramondre's vibes are down. Rashad White's vibes are down as well. Ramondre has a chance to bounce back. I don't know that Rashad White has as good of a chance to bounce back, but to pick up Anthony Richardson on a buy low, unless you're starting Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, or Lamar Jackson every week, we'll take the buy low on Anthony Richardson and hope that he can put it together for the rest of the season, because he does have Konami code week winning upside when he's on. So, yes, I don't know who your quarterback situation is, but if it's anything other than Allen, Lamar, or Jaden Daniels, then I'm with this trade. Then I'm good with this trade. Is it a kicker question that I have next? Boswell or Fair? You have Stroud. Trade Stroud. Trade Stroud to somebody else. Trade Stroud to somebody. I mean, yeah, that's tough. But if there are viable quarterbacks on waivers that you could pivot to until Richardson gets healthy, well, I guess you could just not include Stroud in the trade. Rock with Stroud until Richardson is healthy, and then trade Stroud if you were able to move forward with Richardson when he's healthy, for maybe to like get more running back help or get another wide receiver, whatever you might need. I think I'm okay with this deal. I do think Ramondre has a better chance to bounce back than Rachaad White does, but they're both viable running backs that can catch the ball, that should be viable. They should be decent here and there throughout the rest of the season. And then to pick up Richardson and you can wait on him to get healthy and rock Stroud in the interim, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that trade. I am. Boswell or Fairbairn? I think Boswell's been cooking this year, hasn't he? I think Fairbairn's been good as well. Like Boswell cooked week 1, and then he did all right week 2. He has at least one 50-yard field goal in 3 of 4 games. He's at home against the Cowboys Sunday night. Fairbairn went nuclear weeks 1 and 2, but he hasn't done anything weeks 3 and 4. Tougher matchup against the Bills. Boswell. Yes. If you can get Josh Jacobs for Kyler, yeah, just to circle back on this, Kyler and Xavier to get Josh Jacobs, yes, smash accept. Yes, smash accept. 100%. Smash accept. Josh Jacobs is a buy. He is a buy low. He's not scored yet this year, but the Packers offense was without Jordan Love for a couple of weeks. He's averaging 4.6 yards a carry. He hasn't caught the ball yet, and he hasn't scored yet, but we're expecting those numbers to turn around with the Packers offense now back at full strength with their starting quarterback back in the mix. Jacobs has scored at least 6 touchdowns every year of his career. The touchdowns are they're gonna happen. Josh Jacobs is a buy. You can turn Kyler and Xavier Worthy into Jacobs. Yes. That allows you to play Jacobs this week. If you need to pick up Madison to free up that roster spot, you still can. Yes, do that trade. That's exactly what we're looking for. That is exactly what we're looking for. Do that trade. Do that trade. Josh Jacobs is a buy. Emmanuel Wilson's a solid player, and he's getting involved. But Jacobs is having a good, efficient season. The scoring will come. Yes, you still have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback in a one-quarterback league. You sell high on Xavier Worthy for a proven running back talent who is playing well from an efficiency perspective so far this year. And I think the arrow's pointing up on him because the Packers offense is back at full strength now that Love is back. Yes, do that deal. Do that trade. Do that trade. That's the type of return I like. Okay, I need to keep moving through these. I need to keep moving through these questions because I am 3.5 hours in, and I do need to wrap this up here shortly. But I appreciate everybody's patience and time thinking enough to come hang out for this evening. Thank you guys so much. I will not be live. I normally am live for Sunday start sit help, but with the international game, I'll free up that spot. I will be available in Discord tomorrow if you guys need me. Second link in the description of this live stream and all the videos and streams on the channel if you would like to join. Evergreen free invite. I'm not always available over there, but you can crowdsource from the community. And Sunday mornings during the international games, I'll be available. Half PPR, Ramondre, Akers, or Achane? Ramondre. I don't trust Akers, and I hate to say it, but until we get Tua back, I don't trust Achane either. Not in this matchup on the road against New England. Ramondre's vibes are shaky right now. He's not going to start tomorrow, but he's going to continue to play. I'll roll those dice one more week compared to these other options. Give me Ramondre. I don't want to start Akers, and I don't want to start Achane without Tua. That offense is bad right now. I don't want to I just don't trust the Dolphins. Not until Tua's back. Buy low on the Dolphins. Like, don't sell any of them. If anything, buy them. The vibes on Tua returning are good. But to play them over the next couple of weeks, that's tough. That's tough. Start 2. Robinson, Kyren, Connor. These are all really good options. Well, Montgomery's on a bye, so you're not playing him. Kyren Williams is in your lineup. And I guess Brian Robinson. I mean, I know he hasn't practiced this week, but Brian Robinson is a stud. And he's at home. We're riding the wave. That Washington offense is hot right now. I'll play Robinson and I'll play Kyren Williams. Kyren has to be in your lineup. He's scoring touchdowns every single week. Dating back to last year, I think he has a touchdown in like 7 or 8 straight games against the Packers at home. Let's continue to fire him up. I wish we could start James Conner, but on the road against San Francisco, given your other options, I don't mind sitting him. Chuba, Dobbins, same story. Kyren and B-Rob are just too valuable for me right now, and those are the guys I'm firing up. As far as trading Debo and Dobbins for Jamar Chase, I would prefer if you could get a low end, if you could get the last running back on your trade partner's roster just to make it an even 2-for-2 swap, then I'm okay with it. I'm less bullish about it if you have to do the 2-for-1. Chase is the best player in the deal, but Debo, the vibes on Debo I think are pretty good. They're not on Ayuk right now, but they are good for Debo even though he missed a week because he's going to continue to have to take carries while McCaffrey is out. Like, they're going to utilize him to the fullest as a pass catcher and as a runner. And then Dobbins has been a really good reclamation project this year, so you can sell high on him. I would want to get a running back in return. It can be a downgrade from Dobbins to make it an even 2-for-2 swap, but if you can make that happen, then I'm okay with it. And then Robinson and Kyren. Standard scoring. Ford, Wicks, Harrison Jr. Here I'm going to say Jerome Ford. Oh, it's Brian Robinson Jr. It's Brian Robinson Jr., then Brian Robinson. I know he missed practice this week. He returned yesterday. He's expected to play. Brian Robinson is a damn stud. It's not a good matchup, but the Washington offense is cooking right now, specifically their run game. Jerome Ford is playing well as well, and it's a good matchup for him. But I want Brian Robinson. The Washington offense is just better than the Cleveland offense right now. Even though the Cleveland offense, they're playing each other in this game. It's a good matchup for the Browns, but Deshaun Watson looks terrible right now. Jaden Daniels looks amazing, and so does Brian Robinson. Ford is playing well, but I'll take Robinson. I'll take Brian Robinson. I'll take Brian Robinson. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Romeo Doubs. I don't know why he's getting so bent out of shape. Like, the usage has been there. I agree. I mean, I don't know about the Devontae Adams news or rumors, but if he would end up back in Green Bay, I don't know if that ship has sailed or if the door is still open. I don't know. I don't know if they would do it. Because they already have Jaden Reed is like a budding star. Dontavian Wicks apparently is a budding star. Christian Watson will come back eventually. I still believe in Christian Watson when healthy, but he needs to stay healthy. I don't know what Dobbs' issue is. I agree. I don't know about them trading for Devontae, but yeah, the conduct detrimental to the team is weird and not a good look on Dobbs' part. Like, these are really talented wide receivers that are also getting other opportunities. What are you upset about? I agree. Chuck, what's going on? Good to see you. Rico, Gibson, or Leggett? What's the scoring? If it's full PPR, the wide receiver. If it's half PPR, the wide receiver, honestly. I'll take the rookie. Dowdle, I do think will be okay, even though it's not a good matchup against the Steelers. It's on the road as well. So I think he can come through as a floor play. Leggett is a ceiling play. Gibson is third for me of this group. Like, yeah, he might see increased usage tomorrow, but Ramondre is going to still mix in. I don't know what it means that he's going to start the game. Does that mean that he's going to see the bulk of the opportunities? I don't know. I'm not sure. So I will say Rico is your tough to trust floor play, but could come through on some volume. If you need a little bit more upside, then let's go with Leggett. Especially if it's full PPR and even half PPR. I'll take the Panthers rookie wide receiver. He looked good last week. He looked good. And he's going to continue to get better. That's what rookies do. Yeah. Rico floor, Leggett ceiling. Depends on what you need. You're streaming the Chiefs at home. That's fine. Should be a good matchup. Or should be a favorable matchup. Derek Carr is Derek Carr, and they're missing key pieces. Their wide receivers could do okay. But you expect the Chiefs to play with a lead, and that's how you want your defense to play, with a lead. Should be fine. Chiefs should be fine as a defensive stream tomorrow. Do you flex Ayuk, Wicks, or Kirk? I think I'm going Wicks. Like, the hype is real with Dontavian Wicks. He is being pinned as the breakout star of Week 5, and the situation is great. No Dobbs, no Watson. Great matchup against the Rams. I'll take a guy catching passes from Jordan Love right now over a guy catching passes from Trevor Lawrence. And Ayuk's not doing anything. We need to see more from Ayuk before we fire him up. I'm going Wicks. I'm going Wicks. Over Christian Kirk should be fine. It's just like, I'll take the better quarterback play, and right now the best quarterback play is Jordan Love. I'll say Wicks. That's where I'm at. And yes, enjoy the morning football. Oh, you picked up Tutu? That's I like that better. I like that better. I like that better than a Dunze or Waddle. Yeah, I like that move a lot better. That's good. Nicely done. That's good. I'll take that. That's better. I like that move a lot better. Complete desperation. Coleman or Tank Dell? I guess I will play Dell here. Or no, excuse me. I guess I'll play Coleman here. The only reason is Dell is coming back from a 1-week absence. So, like, does he need to get his sea legs under him? It could be a Stephon Diggs day in a revenge game. Plus, obviously, Nico Collins is the star wide receiver of this group. I'll say Coleman. In a desperation play, I'll say Coleman. Coleman over Dell. One, because Dell is coming into this game after missing a week, and he's got more competition in front of him than Coleman does for targets. I'll say Coleman. Hope for a big play. Start one. Madison, Tutu, Sermon, Dowdle in full PPR. Oh, man. I guess Sermon. I guess Sermon. He should lead the backfield. I don't know what that looks like as far as a volume perspective. It's a decent matchup. It's not a great matchup. It's not a terrible matchup. It's an okay matchup. And obviously, with Taylor out, Sermon figures to get first crack at lead opportunities. I guess Madison. I like Tutu. I do like Tutu in full PPR, and it's a decent matchup against the Packers. I feel like he's a little bit more of a long shot. Maybe he's your aggressive play if you're an underdog and you think you need to be aggressive. But if you're a favorite and you just need like 7 or 8 points, then Sermon. I'll say Sermon. If you need to be aggressive, if you think you need to swing for the fences, if you need the moonshot play, I guess Tutu is fine. Since it's full PPR. That's the other thing with Sermon. He doesn't catch the ball, so he's a little less valuable in full PPR. But 4 for 82 from Tutu. He played 90% of the snaps. It looks like the Rams are moving forward with him and Jordan Whittington as their main guys. Tutu is a desperation play. A moonshot play, like an aggressive play. If you think you need to be aggressive, if you feel like you're an underdog and you need to take a shot on a big play, then Tutu. But Sermon is your boring floor play if you think you can get away with it. Start one between Ramondre, Gibson, and Javonte Williams. Ramondre's usage is in flux or in limbo tomorrow. Javonte is meh, but had a decent showing last week, and it's a good matchup by the numbers. And then Gibson. I can't start Gibson. Gibson's going to get the start tomorrow, but I think I still am moving with Ramondre over Gibson if I have both and I can only pick one. Ramondre is the guy that the Patriots paid this offseason. He's the one they gave the contract to. Even if he's not performing well, they have to go with him until the wheels completely fall off. And I don't think they're there yet because they said he won't start, but they said he's going to remain involved. I think I go Ramondre here. I don't have a ton of confidence in that, but I guess I'll go Ramondre. If you want the guy that probably is going to get most of the work, then it's Javonte Williams, but he doesn't instill a ton of confidence right now. And at least Ramondre is in a good matchup. I think he's in a better matchup than Javonte is. Well, Raiders are giving up decent rushing production on a per game basis, but Miami gives up a lot of catches to running backs. So that's where Ramondre could come into play. I'll say Ramondre. And I'll take Conklin as a stream over Parkinson. I just don't trust Parkinson. He hasn't done anything the past 3. I think he has 8 catches the last 3 weeks. Conklin hasn't done much either, but it is a revenge game for him against Minnesota. And that's where I'm at with tight ends. Finding those random little nuggets of information. I'll take Conklin. I don't have a ton of confidence in it, but I'll take Conklin. I don't trust Parkinson either. Kyler or Flacco? We got to go Kyler. I know it's a bad matchup. I know he didn't do anything last week, but he has upside with his legs. We got to go Kyler. Flacco is fine, but Kyler at least has upside as a runner. I'll say Kyler. And then if it's standard or half PPR scoring, I will say Hunt. If it's full PPR scoring, give me the Panthers rookie. Give me Leggett. I'm sorry. I think it's Leggett. I will take him in full PPR. I will take Hunt if it's standard or half PPR scoring. He should be fine against the Saints on Monday night. You think Wicks is overblown? Oh, no. I don't know. I like Wicks tomorrow. I feel like he's going to come through. And the fact that they're on the road means you have to stay aggressive. Even if you have a double-digit lead on the road, you can't rest on that. You can't rest on your laurels. Not against the Matthew Stafford-led offense, even though it's banged up. They should be able to run with plenty of success tomorrow, but I think you're going to have to keep your wide receivers involved as well. It's just hard to rest on your laurels on the road. I think Wicks is going to come through. I'll be all right. I haven't seen enough from Ayuk. Brian Thomas, I get. I understand if you don't want to play him over Brian Thomas. That's fine. I would play Wicks over Leggett. I would play him over Ayuk as well. We haven't seen anything from Ayuk yet this year. The vibes seem to be good with Wicks. But if you don't believe, go with your own gut. Always, always. If you hear what I'm saying, if you hear what I'm saying and you don't like it, that's totally fine. I'm just giving you my thoughts. Always go with your gut. If your gut disagrees with me, go with your gut. Picking 3 in full PPR: Flowers, Kirk, Downs, Addison, Madison. In full PPR, I guess I would go. Well, I'm going Downs. I'm going Kirk. And I guess I'm going Flowers as well. I guess the Ravens should have to throw on the road tomorrow. They're playing a good offense in Cincinnati. You would think that this is like a they have to keep pace type of situation. They may be playing from ahead, but even if they're playing from ahead, you have to stay aggressive on the road. Flowers is up and down. He's inconsistent, but this could be a good spot for him given the matchup and situation. I'll say Flowers, even though he's difficult to trust. And then Kirk and Downs in full PPR. Give me those wide receivers that I think will come through with some catch volume. Is it possible to trade? Is that Deontay and Ford? You could to get a wide receiver 1 or probably not an RB1. They're difficult to acquire. But Deontay's playing like a wide receiver 1 right now. So I don't know who you're looking at specifically. But in theory, yes, the production has been there from Deontay for the past couple of weeks. His value's way up. Ford's value is okay for now. There's probably people that are concerned about his long-term value because Nick Chubb is potentially returning in the coming weeks. But Ford has been solid. I mean, you could try. It depends on who the target is. Like Johnson and Wicks. I mean, if you're getting, who are you getting? Jamar Chase. I mean, a wide receiver 1. Like how top flight wide receiver 1 are we talking here? But Deontay has a ton of trade value right now. His stock is way up. So yes, I mean it's not totally impossible. If you can get Justin Jefferson, then sure. I'm a little less bullish on AJ Brown because of the hamstring injury. Soft tissue injuries can linger. They don't always linger, but they can linger. So I'm a little less bullish on AJ. How's it a revenge game? He's his old. I don't. If it was last year or 10 years ago, it's your old team. That's all. It's your old team. That's it. And I think it's his first time play. It might have been 3 years ago, but I think it's his first time playing them. So that's, I run with that narrative to a fault. If you don't agree, that's totally fine. But yeah, I mean, they're still your old team, even if it was last year or 10 years ago. They're still your old team. I don't know. I feel like that's a little extra motivation. Maybe that's just me. And if you want to go Madison, that's fine. He should have some volume, but it's a brutal matchup against Denver. The Broncos are playing excellent defense right now. Flowers is tough to trust. I get it. In full PPR on the road against another good offense, I feel like he could be okay. But I understand if you want to try to take a shot on some volume with Madison. It is a bad matchup, though. The Broncos are good on defense anyway. Offense, different conversation. It's fair. It's fair to not get hype. Hey, like I'm not hype on Trey Sermon this week, and I see a lot of people hype on Trey Sermon this week. So yeah, everyone has their guys where I'm like, yeah, I'm not in on that guy just because everybody else is. That's fine. Yes, have your own opinions, 100%. If you don't believe in a guy, you don't believe in a guy. Like, yeah, no hard feelings. I'm not offended if people disagree with me. That I encourage that. We're not all going to agree on the same stuff. So yeah, if you don't believe in Dontavian Wicks, You get to you can fire off all the streamers and the noisemakers and all that stuff if he doesn't play well. Yeah, take your victory lap 100%. Yeah, it's okay to not be it's okay to not be on the same page on every player. That's totally good. That's totally fine. It's totally fine. I personally think Wix is going to have a really good week. I do. If he doesn't, I'll come on the Tuesday stream and I'll eat my words. But I do think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be all right. All right, guys. I'm coming up on 4 hours. I got to run. But thank you guys so much for your patience and your questions as I work through everybody. Hopefully I helped you guys. Hopefully we get some wins in the win, get in the win column this week. I am around in Discord tomorrow if you need me. Second link in the description of this live stream. If you just miss me tuning off, you can ask your question in the form of a comment on this stream or any video or stream on the channel, and I will be sure to get to it. But I appreciate everybody. Appreciate all of the supers, all of my members as always, and to everybody in general for taking some time tonight to hang out with me. Best of luck in your matchups tomorrow. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night, of course. I will see you guys on Tuesday for waiver wire help and any other general questions you have. Trey Sermon over Keon Coleman in full PPR, even though I'm not crazy about it. I'll take Sermon. I'll try some volume, I guess. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, waiver wire help, any other general questions you may have. And you can catch me in Discord tomorrow leading up to the Sunday slate. Thank you, guys. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy the football tomorrow. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.